Let's be honest. It's kind of unfair that safe drivers have to pay as much for insurance as...
Not safe drivers!
That was a stunt driver. That's why Esurance has this DriveSense app. The safer you drive, the more you save. Don't worry, I'm not using my phone and talking to a camera while driving. I'm being towed!
By the way, I'm actually a safe driver. I'm just pretending to be a not safe driver.
Cool.
Bye, Dennis Quaid.
When insurance is affordable, it's surprisingly painless.
The moment is fleeting. A brush with greatness. Genius at its peak. Catch it while you can. The best in baseball. One night a week. One place to watch. Cubs. Dodgers. Sunday Night Baseball. Tomorrow on ESPN. Telecast presented by Taco Bell.
Here's where summer begins.
Welcome, everyone, to Omaha, Nebraska, home of the College World Series. We look forward to seeing how this last chapter gets written.
Where the fans come out to party. And the nation's top collegiate baseball teams come to win it all.
The stakes have never been higher.
The College World Series presented by Capital One continues tomorrow at 2 on ESPN.
The 2019 SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships are brought to you by ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. We welcome you back to the 2019 SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships from the Randall Tyson Track Center in Fayetteville, Arkansas. This facility, a wonder facility, now 20 years old. It's hosted the SEC meet. This is the 9th time, NCAA 12 times. It is a quick track, and with all these Arkansas fans in here, it favors the Hogs to be sure. Back upstairs, Dwight and Jill.
All right, John, next race on the track, the men's mile. Same situation, 10 finalists. King Chez is the collegiate record holder. Stefan Bolt of Alabama with that meet record, which is very old now. And there's certainly athletes in this race who can challenge it, but championships tend to go tactical as we take a look at Waleed Suleiman of Ole Miss.
Actually, that's Cade Bethman of Ole Miss, and but Waleed Suleiman, his teammate, is standing right next to him. And these men last night in this prelims, they sat in the very first 800. It was just kind of a little, hey, we're going to have a training session between him and Waleed, and then they just took it out. They crossed the line almost with the identical time, 4:06.69 and 4:06.72. Used it as a training session just to get into this final.
There is Waleed Suleiman. I should look at the monitor instead of my piece of paper. They're quite a formidable 1-2 punch, and they really are. Ole Miss is really the first team in the conference that really started going for middle distance and distance runners, and the rest of the conference followed, which is why they have such great balance.
And both these men have been workhorses for Ole Miss this weekend. Cade is running the 3,000 later this evening, and last night Waleed ran the first leg, the 800-meter leg, on the distance medley relay. So he ran a prelim in the mile, then the distance medley relay, and now is back for the mile final.
So 7 runners on the inside alley, 3 on the outside. They will stay in those lanes until they get past the second full curve and then break for the pole. There are the lane assignments for all 10 of those athletes. Arkansas with a couple of opportunities here to score points as well.
This pole position is actually very important. Coming off of these alleys, you want to make sure that you can get to the inside lane of the track without getting boxed in out of lane 2, and also not running out in lane 2 so that you're running a lot further distance than a mile. So positioning right now critical.
Freshman Martin Kodanov of Missouri and Bulgaria raced hard out of that outside alley to get up there with his teammate Kieran Wood. So they are going 1-2. Maybe employing some team tactics. So 2 Tigers from Missouri, 2 Rebels from Ole Miss and 2 Razorbacks in this 10-man final.
In this first 400, watch for, like I said, just the positioning. They come through unofficial 59.64. Now the pack will end up stringing out a little bit. This next 800 is where the moves are made in this mile, but not all the way till the kick. I asked Waleed Suleiman about that. I said, how come every single one of you sit and kick in this? He said, listen, everybody has good kick. It's college. It's not high school anymore. So what we have to do is we have to mentally play the game of when we're going to make our move. But if a leader goes out, we've got to stay in contact with them.
Still 1-2 up in front for Missouri, then 3-4 for Ole Miss. Arkansas back in the back, lurking in 7th and 8th.
Bethman and Suleiman right now running, moving up into 2 and 3. They were running very tactical through that last 200 of this next 800 of this race, and running very relaxed. Both of them have extremely strong kicks, as we saw in the prelims last night. I didn't think they needed to kick as hard as they did last night in the prelim, but again, it's a training session. All of these men, there's a handful of them that has run under the 4-minute mile.
So just about 2:01 at the 800, so a 62-second lap thrown in there by Bodenov, but the pace appears to be honest to the people running it. They're nice and spread out.
Moving up with speed, it's interesting that you say that. Now that the pack is stretched out, you have now got to know when to make the move. And right here on the straightaways, either this home stretch or the back stretch is where you need to make that move instead of these curves that they're getting ready onto, because it is a banked track and it's a little bit harder to make that move on the curve.
Ideally, they will tell you that the third 400 is the one that you have to push. I don't really see that they're doing that as it starts to bunch up a bit.
Cameron Griffith from Arkansas making that move, just as you said that, knowing that there's only 3 laps to go on this track, and this is where it will start to get tactical on the kicks.
So Suleiman now up in the front with his teammate Bethman, slowing things down. And Cameron Griffith in a good position. They just doing a 64-second lap as they get ready to wind it up for the kick.
Cameron Griffith, a workhorse for Arkansas as well. He ran on the distance medley relay last night. So he ran the prelim, the distance medley relay, this, and he is in the 3,000 later. So leg conservation for him right now for the 3,000 is in his mind.
Suleiman followed by Griffith, then Wood, then Bethman as they come to the bell. It's going to be a mad sprint. Suleiman and Griffith separating themselves from the rest of the pack. Now it's just going to be who has the better kick.
And the difference between those last two 200s, Dwight, they went from 31.6 to 29.
I like the look on Cameron Wright's face better than Waleed Suleiman. He looks like he's digging down and grunting. Cameron Wright looks relaxed. Here comes Wright. Does he have enough real estate? No. Waleed Suleiman holds him off. Cameron Griffith second for Arkansas. I thought he had him. He knows his track so well. He looked relaxed. He looked ready. He made the move at the right place. Suleiman just held him off.
3/100ths of a second between Suleiman and Griffith, but Griffith ran a really good tactical race to try to run and pass. He didn't pass on the curve. He waited, stalked him on the backstretch, and then got right on Suleiman's shoulder. Right here is the perfect time to make the move. He just didn't have enough in the tank. Keep in mind, he's got to run that 3,000 in about an hour and a half.
56.9 last 400 for Suleiman. And he was grimacing hard with more than 100 meters to go, and Cameron Wright looked like he was barely winded, but he just didn't have the turnover in order to get the victory. 3/100ths of a second separating them. Waleed Suleiman ends up first for Ole Miss as Bethman gets fourth, and Cameron Griffith 8 points for Arkansas plus Ethan Moen with 2 more. They did a nice job, and the champion is with John.
Thank you, Dwight. Here with Waleed Suleiman. Last 200, I want to hear what it was like, because you had Griffith there on your tail the entire way.
I mean, I knew that he was right there. He looked really relaxed. I kept looking at the screen up there, and he's just like right on my tail. So I knew that I was just gonna get to like the last 100 meter who like got the better kick. But I mean, like he's a great runner. But I mean, like it was really close. 0.03 seconds. That's really close. So.
Right, and everybody here was rooting for the other guy. But this is an Ole Miss. This is a distance. This is a distance event. This is Ole Miss. This is you guys' territory.
Sure. So, I mean, I'm glad that it's been, I don't know how many, 3 years in a row that we won the mile. So glad that the tradition is still going, and just making everyone else proud whoever ran before us and like that. So
we signed that off with a hottie toddy, and now we cover some field events.
LSU freshman Mondo Duplantis is the king of the pole vault. You can see there his personal best is an American record, 19 feet 10 inches. He did that at the European Championships last summer. He has jumped over 19 feet in all three of his competitions, I should say, this season, and he's gone for the collegiate record every single time. This is a couple weeks ago down at his home facility in Baton Rouge, 19.3. And once again, he attempted the collegiate record, was unable to get it. So here he is at the conference, a meet that he has been shooting for, a facility he has already competed on. And there's his dad on the upper right. That's Greg Duplantis, himself a 19 feet a quarter inch competitor at LSU. His mom, Helena, and there they are. That's how long he's been vaulting. And here they are, his freshman year at LSU, his second height of the competition. He started at 18.2. This is his first attempt at 18.6. And he brushes it on the way down with the shins. He's jumping at this height because Jacob Wooten of Texas A&M is still in the competition. He hasn't won it yet. And look at the hip height on 18.6. That's just crazy.
Jump at the next bar with the same pole. Same. I mean, you barely hit it. You couldn't do nothing because you were trying to pull it out.
You see that a lot. They have spirited discussions about pole selection and what he needs to do with his run. He stays with the same pole. And now his jump at 19 feet. And look at that. On the way down, he pointed to his dad like, you were right. I stayed with the same pole. I just ran better, and I just had better technique. So that encourages him for his next height, which will be the collegiate record.
Collegiate record is definitely in the back of my mind. You know, having tried it 3 meets in a row now and, you know, being unsuccessful at it, I'm definitely hungry for it, and I definitely would like to break it this meet or the NCAA championships. I definitely want it a lot.
The shortest distance between 2 points in indoor track is 60 meters. It's also the fastest. The women on your mark, get set, go as we sprint ahead here at the SEC Track Championships.
Man, I wish we had some.
And rich, delicious Dr. Pepper.
Cool robot.
Thanks, but actually he's a cooler from the future.
Wow.
Don't touch. He's very cold.
Dr. Pepper, so nice to treat you.
Here's where summer begins.
Welcome, everyone, to Omaha, Nebraska, home of the College World Series. We look forward to seeing how this last chapter gets written.
Where the fans come out to party. And the nation's top collegiate baseball teams come to win it all.
The stakes have never been higher.
The College World Series presented by Capital One continues tomorrow at 2 on ESPN.
I used to spend my mornings like this. Endlessly scrolling and searching for all the latest sports news. It was not great. But now I have the ESPN Daily. It tells you everything you need to know, what to watch, and much more. One email every morning to get you caught up. Sign up now at espn.com/daily.
At Robert Herman Real Estate, showing houses begins well before prospective homeowners walk through the front door. With Mediacom Business Internet, speeds of up to 1 gigabit, he creates online property previews with 360-degree tours of all his houses. Robert's using broadband technology to drive traffic to his listings and attract motivated buyers. And his business is booming.
I think you're gonna love this place.
Mediacom Business makes it easy for small business to do big things.
Healthcare should be about people, not profits. At Spectrum, we understand the importance of affordable and reliable care. With low-cost health services for individuals and small businesses alike, we're committed to ethical, compassionate care that focuses on you. From drug testing to full-service clinical care, we want to make sure you or your employees get the care they need at a cost they can manage. The first step to a better life is better health at Spectrum Healthcare.
Welcome back to the University of Arkansas. That's the beautiful Pi Beta Phi, the Pi Phi's gate, the main entrance on the north side of campus. Arkansas University, founded in 1871, and then, of course, in 1991, they joined the SEC. Just a 120-year gap between those two events. Returning champs in the field. For the men, quite a few. And names you'll know. Devin Dixon. We just saw Cameron Griffith run, and we'll see a lot of Grant Holloway. But it's a new cast of stars, certainly on the women's side. Lena Irby, the only one who returns in the 200. After that, it's not for a lack of talent, but the name recognition will come when these girls continue to run and achieve SEC and national marks and national championships. To call the women's 60, we're back up to Dwight and Jill.
All right, John, next event on the track, the women's 60-meter dash. Here are the women's team standings after 7 events. Arkansas with a 3-point lead over Alabama thanks to the 24 they earned in that mile, and then Florida well back in 3rd. Here are the records for women's 60. Alea Hobbs and Hannah Cunliffe with a collegiate record last year and the year before. Ramona Burchell of Alabama has the meet record. Courtney Johnson with the best in the country.
As we get a peek at Janique Brown from Arkansas, she had the 5th fastest qualifier coming into this race from the prelims yesterday. And I'll tell you, Arkansas has chance for points. However, Courtney Johnson is in lane 4 from LSU. She has the fastest time in the country right now at 7:14. But right next to her, Kiera Parker from Arkansas has the 2nd fastest time. All 3 of these women told me they were working on their starts.
She ran that 7:15 4 weeks ago today at the Razorback Invitational. We were here and covered it. Oh, and Shakara Richardson is going to be gone.
Oh, and that is a freshman mistake.
She's saying that she heard something, maybe a camera click or something else. She can argue that as much as she wants.
Yesterday we heard that in the 400 prelims. Hunter Woodhall from Arkansas heard a horn blow, and he actually stopped running. So she's saying she heard something, and they are showing a red card. That's really unfortunate, and that's a point blow for Dennis Shaver's LSU Tigers. They've been reloading from the likes of Aaliyah Hobbs and Micaiah Briscoe. They still have Ariana Augustine in lane 8 in this. So now what happens is you are mentally shaken because you have to now reset, go back to everything that you did to calm down, go into your blocks, and now you know that there has been a false start. So it tends to keep you held in the blocks a little more on that set position.
So LSU had a real opportunity with 3 finalists, now down to 2. Here's Janique Brown. She's in lane 2. But the speed on paper is in the center of the track. Courtney Johnson of LSU in 4. And Kiara Parker of Arkansas in 5. All 3 of these ladies have qualified for the 200 meters later this afternoon. Very good start for Courtney Johnson and Kiara Parker. Parker looking much better than yesterday, but here comes Courtney Johnson with a late spurt in the last 15 meters, and the Janique Brown also closing very, very well. 7:23. That is surprising because this is not a slow straight.
Yeah, at all. And they all 3 got really good starts. That is official. 7:23 for Courtney Johnson. She said that what she was trying to better from yesterday was her first couple steps out of the blocks. Not even just the start, but also staying really low to the ground so that she could transition in the middle of your screen in the yellow and purple. She does stay low She's got, look at her head stays low the whole time. She's got really good transition into that acceleration phase, but right here, you've got to relax. You can't try to run fast. You just have to trust your turnover and relax because you are running into and still accelerating at the 60. Middle of your track, you got Kiara Parker in the red and Courtney Johnson in the yellow and purple, almost even, but that top end speed that Courtney Johnson has had, a lot of that has to do with training with Aaliyah Hobbs.
That was Kiana Gray from Kentucky down there closest to us that got second. 7:23 and 7:27. That surprises me because of the speed of this straightaway, but it doesn't matter the time. It's the points and the placing. Courtney Johnson wins this title. She was 5th here last year. She upgrades to 1st. Kiana Gray 2nd. Maya McCoy, who we'll see later in the 200, she was 3rd. And Arkansas, though, 4th, 5th, and 6th. That's still some solid points.
Again, and that's what we talked about, is that they are so deep across the field and in all of those track races that it's impossible to not have huge points for Arkansas.
All right, Courtney Johnson has caught up with our John Anderson down on the infield.
I tell you what, whether it's Micaiah Briscoe or Aaliyah Hobbs or now Courtney Johnson, after the 60, I'm always talking to somebody from LSU. Take us through the race, please.
So my main job was just making sure that I execute the process. It's not my best time, not my best performance, but I know that I can just keep building on this. When I came up out of my transition, the main thing was to stay relaxed. I don't feel like I had the best start, but I do have a good top end speed, so I feel like I will be able to hold them off. But like I said, I still have a lot of things to work on.
And how did you reset yourself after you see your teammate false start and out of the race?
That was the mental part that actually almost kind of got me. When I seen that she had false started, I had to get myself back together, had to keep thinking about executing the process even though she wasn't right next to me. So it was kind of hard trying to get my mental back together, but I feel like I did a pretty good job of it by staying relaxed and not tightening up just because my start wasn't good.
Good enough job to win another LSU Tiger champ in the women's 60-meter dash. Now we're talking more field events here in Arkansas.
Mondo Duplantis, the number 5 performer all time in history, indoor or out. Pretty rare company this young man is in. Here he is, first attempt at the collegiate record he has chased all season, 19 feet 5 inches. And with a good wrap, it stays on. That's a collegiate record, a meet record, the LSU school record, and a new Swedish indoor record. No one runs on the runway with a pole as well as Mondo Duplantis in this country, maybe even in the world. In Beijing.
I mean, it's the only record he's in there.
And I believe that was not as good a jump as his 19-foot jump, which shows he's got even more. So he wins it with a collegiate record. Jacob Wooten, very competitive at 18 feet 6 inches. What a competition, what a vaulter.
What's it mean to finally achieve that mark?
It's fantastic. This is my 4th meet in a row going after that collegiate record. So for sure, it was something that was in the back of my mind the entire competition. You know, of course, I wanted to go in here and, you know, secure the gold first. That was step number 1. And then after that, if I was able to win and be by myself jumping, I was gonna put it at that collegiate record and take some shots at it. And yeah, I got a good jump at it and was able to clear it.
60 meters, the athletes, the track, all three. Fast, fast, fast here in Fayetteville. And something new and spectacular to watch, Grant Holloway without hurdles. Don't miss it when we return here on the SEC Network.
There are roadside attractions, and then there's our world-famous on-road attraction, the 2019 GLC, starting at $40,700. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing.
Your devices are terrible with secrets.
Some people use their names as passwords.
Stop the blah blah. Use NordVPN. Keep your online data secure and private. Download now.
When you rent a car on Turo, you're renting from a real person. No shuttle rides, no waiting in line, and no wandering a car lot. This is better than your typical car rental. This is Turo.
Download the app today.
The moment is fleeting. A brush with greatness. Genius at its peak. Catch it while you can. The best in baseball. One night a week. One place to watch. Cubs. Dodgers. Sunday Night Baseball. Tomorrow on ESPN. Telecast presented by Taco Bell.
Here's where summer begins.
Welcome, everyone, to Omaha, Nebraska, home of the College World Series. We look forward to seeing how this last chapter gets written.
Where the fans come out to party. And the nation's top collegiate baseball teams come to win it all.
The stakes have never been higher.
The College World Series presented by Capital One continues tomorrow at 2 on ESPN.
All right, we look ahead here to other sports in the SEC network. Big basketball game, Missouri, Mississippi State coming your way 7 o'clock Eastern time. Arkansas and Kentucky, the Wildcats. John Calipari's freshman playing better and better. That's Tuesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern time on the SEC network. Get ready for the men's 60-meter hurdles, and here's something new. Grant Holloway, we see him in the relays and in the long jump and in the hurdles, but now he is running in the open 60, and wouldn't you know, 4 weeks ago he came here to the Razorback Invitational and jumped right into the national all-time top 10. Dwight with the call of that race.
Another great start for Holloway. He's gone. Now it's a matter of how fast does he run. Grant Holloway all the way. 6:51. A new meet record.
So that was his 6.51. Quick again in the qualifier yesterday, and now to call the final, it's Dwight and Joe.
All right, John, like I said, it's Grant Holloway all the way. This Florida junior, we are so pleased that he decided to stay in school so we could see him perform one more season. Let's take a look at the team standings going into this race. Florida with just a 1-point lead over Alabama, and then just 1 point between them and LSU. It is tight, 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 but a lot of track meet left. 9 events still to be contested on the track and in the field.
Grant Holloway concentrating in this race on learning how to run the mechanics of the 60 because he's been a hurdler for so long. Him and his coach Mike Holloway actually had a little chat with 2-time Olympic silver medalist Terrence Trammell, and he said you just have to focus on the proper mechanics of being a sprinter, not a hurdler. Keep in mind he's got to come back in 30 minutes and run the hurdle final.
And I believe the sprinting ability of his comes from him going from 8 steps to 7 steps to the first hurdle, because it has just enhanced his stride tremendously. 3 Gators in the middle of the track. Another great start, but not as good as yesterday. Little work to do today. He didn't blow the field away like he has all season, but he wins it over his teammate Hakeem Sani Brown on his right and Ryan Clark of Florida on his left. 6:54, so that means the field actually came to him a lot better. He's made that field better.
He has, absolutely, and his first step out of the blocks is usually his best. His start last night in the prelims was a little bit better. However, Grant is such a technician. In the middle of the track in the all-white there, I know there's 3, but he's right in the smack middle. Look how long he keeps his head down. The other men runners pop their head up. He stays down in that push phase into the acceleration phase, and then his strength and speed keeps over. What him and his coach Mike Holloway work on in this is that, listen, this is going to translate into helping the outdoor 100-meter 10 hurdles. You've got to become a sprinter and transition into that acceleration phase, lifting up and again, not trying to overstride and become faster, just trusting your turnover.
Well, the Gators had half the field in this 60 meters, a very important opportunity for point scoring there. So 18 and then another 25 points for the Gators in that 60. And Hakeem Sani Brown, a very solid 6:60 in second. So Grant Holloway, 1/3 of his day is finished. He gets ready for the hurdles a little later.
Still to come, 400-meter runners on the track, 2 times around. Lena Irby put up shocking times as a freshman, ready to begin her sophomore championship season today.
Oh, sir, that was my grandma's. Ugh.
Don't worry, ma'am. All of your stuff is in okay hands.
Just okay?
Well, they don't give 2.5 stars to just anybody.
Here you go.
What's this?
It's your piano.
Hold this for a sec.
We don't have a piano.
But the neighbors do.
Just okay is not okay, especially when it comes to your network. AT&T is America's best wireless network according to America's biggest test. Now with 5G Evolution, the first step to 5G. More for your thing. That's our thing.
I'm gonna ask you to finish the sentence. Cancer is, and why?
Okay.
Cancer is a mindless beast. It shows up in the middle of the night, in the middle of your life.
My dad is still a contact my phone, and every time I change a phone or upgrade, I never delete my dad.
Because of all the donations, research, and support, mine is one of the lives that's been saved.
We need your help. We need money for research. It may not save my life. It may save someone you love.
Cancer is universal.
Life-changing. Cancer is why I will never give up. Cancer is part of our culture.
Cancer is not going to be the ending of my life. It doesn't define me.
I believe that they can come up with a cure. I think we're just this close.
Cancer is a disease whose days are numbered.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
The moment is fleeting. A brush with greatness. Genius at its peak. Catch it while you can. The best in baseball. One night a week. One place to watch. Cubs. Dodgers. Sunday Night Baseball. Tomorrow on ESPN. Telecast presented by Taco Bell.
My mornings like this. Endlessly scrolling and searching for all the latest sports news. It was not great. But now I have the ESPN Daily. It tells you everything you need to know, what to watch, and much more. One email every morning to get you caught up. Sign up now at espn.com/daily.
We're at the Randall Tyson Track Center, home to the fastest track in the world, the 2019 SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships. John Anderson, Dwight Stones, and Jill Montgomery. More racing right now. We go to the booth.
All right, John, it's time now for the standings as we go into this women's 400 meters. Arkansas now starting to pull away with a 14-point lead over Alabama, and then Alabama another 20 in front of LSU. Next race on the track, 2 sections of the women's 400-meter final. Kendall Ellis setting that collegiate record last year at Texas A&M. Sydney McLaughlin, the 1 year she competed for Kentucky, setting the meet record. And Lena Irby is the collegiate leader. Here is Sharika Barnett, the senior from Florida. She was 3rd at this meet last year.
I talked to her a little bit earlier, and she said she's really trying to fix her arms out of the block and just stay pushing through that first 20 meters. She's a senior. We've been talking about her since she's been a freshman. You hear it all the time. You still have eligibility, and it's because she has been a staple for Mike Holloway's Gators in this event for the last 5 years.
So here's how they will line up. 2 Razorbacks in lane 3 and 4, Sharika Barnett in 5, and then Tiara Robinson-Jones of A&M. The winner can come from either of these 2 sections. 8 finalists. There's only 6 laps on the track, and lanes 1 and 2 in the 200 and 400 just useless. So the winner of this heat will establish the time to beat for section 2. good start for Tiara Robinson-Jones out in 6. The preferred lane on this track has been determined to be lane 5. That's Sharika Barnett. She's got someone to key off of on her outside, and she's made up the stagger.
They run the first 150, and right here they'll break for the pole position. And what Sharika Barnett told me, she said, no matter what, I have got to make sure I get that pole position first.
And she did so without any commotion, so she does not break stride. She does not lose any of her rhythm.
And right here on this backstretch is where she said she really wants to make sure she's raising her hips and turning over and not collapsing, so that she has a little bit left in the tank to accelerate off this last turn.
Kathleen Campbell, the sophomore from Arkansas, trying to make a race out of it. Sharika Barnett starting to tie up a little bit. She's got to really accelerate down this finishing stretch if she wants to hold them off. And on the outside, I'm not sure if Robinson-Jones got there. I think Sharika Barnett wins it. 52-51 unofficially. That will be the time to beat if it's made official. Yes, and Barnett is the winner. But that was very close for top 3.
Woo! 52-51 is the second fastest time in the country right now for Sharika Barnett. And bet Lena Irby was watching this pole position. When you run and cut inside, you've got to keep it really smooth and in a long linear line, not cutting into the inside lane too quickly. Sharika Barnett is a veteran and did it flawlessly. Coming into the home stretch, on the curve, not where you want to pass for Arkansas. However, Sharika Barnett working on her arms and keeping those hips elevated right here. This is the turnover we're talking about. Keeping your knees in front of you, and the front end running mechanics that you'll hear about all day long got her the gold.
So Barnett holds off a couple of other competitors right to the line and establishes the time to beat. If no one runs faster than 52-51 in Section 2, she will be the winner of the 400 and get the 10 points for her Gators. So here are the athletes in Section 2 of the 400 meters. And this includes the collegiate leader, we're looking at Ciara Richardson, and she'll be out in lane 6. Let's take a look at in lane 5, which is the preferred lane. There is Lena Irby. The Georgia sophomore has her sights set on the World Championships in October, and she knows what it takes to navigate this long season.
Some of my goals for the season is definitely looking at the big picture, like I said before, and just being able to focus on the little things as well, like at practice, like coaches like, oh, heel recovery, or moving our hips better out the blocks and stuff like that. So really focusing on little things and getting ready for such a big season.
Lena Irby didn't have a time coming into this meet in the 400 because she hasn't run one until last night in the prelims. By the way, 52.08, fastest time in the country for Irby. Her and her coach Petros Kyprianou, off what she just said, is that this is going to be a long season because they need to train longer to go to that World Championship. So they're taking their time indoor right here in this event. It is her premier event, and you are going to see a very different styled runner than we just saw in Sharika Barnett. Lena Irby's a very powerful runner, very bouncy runner. Watch for her to take this out quick.
And we learned once again a very deceptively fast runner. She does have a significant amount of kinesio tape on, I believe it's her left hamstring. It didn't seem to slow her down at all yesterday, but we'll take a look and see how she recovers from that fast 400 yesterday.
One of the things that her coach Petros Kyprianou and her have been working on, and everything here for them is done in the weight room. They work on intramuscular training, which works on movement training, not muscular training.
So that reference to the World Championships being late in the season, it's late September into early October in Doha, Qatar. For obvious reasons, it's going to be very, very hot. It has really thrown the entire season into turmoil with when the national championships are, the Diamond League meets, etc. Irby in 5, Ciara Richardson of A&M outside her in 6. So Irby can key off Richardson. And it's an advantage if Richardson gets out fast, which is exactly what she's doing.
The key in this race right here on this backstretch is to accelerate up this curve and keep your turnover and arms and hips in line to keep that acceleration and rip off of this curve.
So Irby with good momentum to take the pole position. She will not break stride. She can keep her momentum going. 24.01 for the first 200 meters for Irby.
What we've seen her is it almost looks like she's overstriding for her height, but it's not. That is what they've been working on, is her stride length. She's such a powerful runner that he wanted to train her a little bit more ballistically so that right here in this last 50 meters, she can lengthen out.
Ciara Richardson is not out of this race at all. She is gaining ground. Irby is starting to tie up. Irby gets the victory, 52.01. If that holds, it is the fastest time in the country, 52.02 officially, so faster than yesterday's prelim. And that is fast enough to be the overall winner. So Lena Irby upgrades from her silver last year to a gold here in 2019.
Ooh, and just coming off of this stretch, going into the curve, like I said, look at her stride length. Her body is actually leaning back a little bit. She's not in 400-meter shape right now. That's what they've been working on, is just to get her kind of into this new stride pattern right here. This is where her coach, Petros Kyprianou, wants her to lengthen her stride. You can see she's got a little bit of work to do in order to smooth that out without having to grimace, but still 52.02. Fastest time in the country. It's the second one she's run all year.
And Ciara Richardson in second place with 52.09. She is now the second fastest in the country, and these are important times because in 2 weeks we'll be at the NCAA championships. This is not the combined results here because Ciara Richardson was second, but that's no matter. Lena Irby is the champion, and she's with John.
Indiana wants me, and we're here with Lena Irby. How do we go from no time to conference champ?
I'm really just all part of coach's plan. Just want to stay ready and peak at the right time for the season.
The last 40 of that thing looked really hard, but you come through in 24, roughly flat for the first 200, so I want to hear about the second 200.
The second 200, which is really about maintaining speed from the first 200. Me and my coach is just working on our plan, getting our feedback ready for the nationals, and so we're working on it.
All right, the SEC champ will be headed to nationals with the fastest time in the country, Lena Irby. That's on the track. More competition on the field here in Arkansas now.
All right, John, over to the other part of the building where they throw things. This is Joseph Maxwell, the sophomore from Tennessee. His third attempt in the shot. He is from Canada, 8th this meet last year. And his third attempt gets him out to 62.2 1/4, good enough for third place. In the ring now, the senior from Alabama, Cord Ferguson. This was his fourth row of the competition. Second at this meet last year, 6th at the NCAA Indoor Championships. And he bests Maxwell by just about 7 inches out to 62.9 1/2. But the man that owns this event in this conference is Denzel Kamenincha, finally a senior at Georgia from the Netherlands. He led the entire competition, 1 point by 4 feet. He was the third at this meet last year, second at the NCAA championships, but he leads both the shot and weight in the conference. 66.9 3/4 for Kamenincha, 2 weeks out from the NCAA championships. Just another day at the office for this Georgia Bulldog who dominates the throws in this conference. He wins it easily by 4 full feet. Ferguson second, Maxwell third.
In the women's long jump from Florida, the senior Yanis David, also from France, wins the competition with 21.2 1/2. Deborah Acquah from Texas A&M, 20 feet 8 1/2, and Kiera Williams from Alabama, third at 20 feet 8 even.
Up next, the men's 400-meter runners explode from the blocks and wreck stopwatches. A marquee event here at the 2019 SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships.
This is a commercial about insurance. I know you're thinking, I don't want to hear about insurance.
Because let's be honest, nobody likes dealing with insurance, right?
See, insurance knows it's expensive.
I feel like I'm giving my money away.
So they're making it affordable.
Thank you, Dennis Quaid.
You're welcome, Guy in Kitchen.
I named my character Walter.
That's great. I'd tell you more, but I only have 30 seconds. So here's a dramatic shot of their tagline so you'll remember it.
When insurance is affordable, it's surprisingly painless.
The moment is fleeting. A brush with greatness. Genius at its peak. Catch it while you can. The best in baseball. One night a week. One place to watch. Cubs. Dodgers. Sunday Night Baseball. Tomorrow on ESPN. Telecast presented by Taco Bell.
Here's where summer begins.
Welcome, everyone, to Omaha, Nebraska, home of the College World Series. We look forward to seeing how this last chapter gets written.
Where the fans come out to party. And the nation's top collegiate baseball teams come to win it all.
The stakes have never been higher.
The College World Series presented by Capital One continues tomorrow at 2 on ESPN.
AT&T loves to talk about their 1 gig internet, but you can't get it at Beth's house or John's house. It's not available in JoJo's neighborhood or within 100 miles of the Smith family. The truth is, AT&T 1 gig isn't for everyone. Make sure you have access to the fastest. Switch to Mediacom Extreme and get the future-forward speed you need from the 100% gigabit technology network, the fastest for everyone.
Healthcare should be about people, not profits. At Spectrum, we understand the importance of affordable and reliable care. With low-cost health services for individuals and small businesses alike, we're committed to ethical, compassionate care that focuses on you. From drug testing to full-service clinical care, we want to make sure you or your employees get the care they need at a cost they can manage. The first step to a better life is better health at Spectrum Healthcare.
That is Ole Main, and short of a Woo Pig Suey Razorback, nothing says Arkansas like that building, the first permanent building here on campus dating back to 1875. The Bowerman is rather new award in track and field. It's now 10 years old. As we look at the watch list on the men's side, Denzel Comanentia didn't hurt his standings. This way just showed you his work in the shot put. Also from this conference, Devin Dixon, Mondo Duplantis, Grant Holloway, Shelby McEwen. So half of the Bowerman finalists are SEC athletes. More 400 racing on the men's side. Here's Dwight.
All right, John, it's the men's turn now as we'll look at the standings going into this 2-section 400-meter final. 20-point lead right now for Florida. They did advance the most amount of finalists on the track, so that is not surprising, but don't count some of those other teams out. There's a lot of events left. Michael Norman setting that world record at the NCAA championships last year before turning pro. Karani James has the meet record, and there is champion Allison, the sophomore from Alabama. He ran 46.44 yesterday in the prelims.
And that was a personal best for him in here. And also from Texas A&M right next to him, Ilulu Izu. And I got a little text that we're supposed to call him Izukage after this ninja Mizukage that he loves in one of his favorite ninja shows. So that's a shout out from Robert Grant from Texas A&M.
So champion Allison with that preferred lane 5. Chance Sawyers is sure to go out fast in lane 6, which will certainly be an advantage for Allison. Same situation, 2-section final. Winner can come from either section. They'll stay in their lanes through the first 2 turns and then break for the pole. So whoever wins this first heat establishes the time to beat for the runners in heat number 2 or section 2. Good start for champion Allison.
Great start for champion Allison. He really used that very first corner as just a slingshot of acceleration down the backstretch.
A little bit of a bobble there in the middle of the turn. Now it's the fight for the pole position. And Allison wins it uncontested. So now the work begins for those who would like to chase. Allison over Sawyers at this point. And they're very well matched, just 100th of a second between their personal bests, which they both set yesterday.
Being able to come back and run that.
Sawyer's trying to catch him, and it won't be. It's champion Allison who will establish the time to beat at 46.50. 46.57, so he did not improve on his time from yesterday. Officially 46.58 and 46.65 for Chance Sawyers.
And I was just finishing, being able to come back and run that on the backstretch as you look at Champion in the front, being able to come back and run as fast as you did after a personal best is very difficult, especially knowing that a lot of these athletes are going to be on the 4x4 as well. But really great stride length here. His arms get a little lengthened out at the just tightened up a tiny bit, but now he has set the bar. Florida in there for second, just trying to get points. And if they can going to have, as you look at Chance Sawyer from Florida, just trying to out-lean Champion Allison from Alabama, and it is all going to be about points for Florida from here on out.
So Champion Allison with a time to beat at 46.58 over Chance Sawyer's 46.65. And Florida has another entry in Section 2, so that 20-point lead will probably grow when we are concluded with this particular event as we get ready for Section 2. And we just want to mention that the collegiate leading time is set at the AAC meet down in Birmingham, Alabama at 45.04. Kamari Montgomery, who used to compete for Missouri, now with Houston, had established that time. This is Quincy Hall, the junior from South Carolina. He has the preferred lane 5.
He was the top qualifier out of yesterday's prelims with a time of 45.89, just off his personal best of 45.72 that he set earlier this year. And what you and I've talked a lot about, a lot of these athletes out here have had their personal best set within the last 2 months. Very impressive to keep that consistency into a conference championship.
So I mentioned that Florida has an entry in this. Benjamin Lobo Vidal, who will be in lane 4. He's a big, tall guy. It's a good thing for him he didn't get lane number 3, but 4 is plenty hard enough. He was very busy yesterday running his prelim in this event, the 200, and also running the 400-meter leg on the distance medley relay for Florida.
You'll see Gators all over the track in the next couple events, and Mike Holloway is all about execution, and yesterday the Gator men executed very well into the finals today.
Can't score points until you get people in the finals, and they did that splendidly yesterday. So from the inside, it's Jalen Brown of Arkansas, then Ben Lobo Vidal of Florida, the sophomore, and Quincy Hall, the leading qualifier from yesterday in 5, and then Bryce Dedman of Texas A&M, which, like the last section, he will be a good rabbit for Quincy Hall. Dedman is a legit 400-meter runner. He's out there in lane 6 with nobody to key off of.
Here's the thing about this race, this first 200, being able to take it out as hard as you need to and not be able to have that dying in that third 100 coming off of the curve after you hit that first corner. Running even on a banked track tends to be the trend to have faster times.
So I'm surprised there's really no competition for the pole position in any one of the 4 400-meter races, women and men, as Ben Lobo Vidal gets into second position.
Well, what's interesting is Quincy Hall was running in the top end of lane 1, almost giving up the rail, but Lobo Vidal is so tall, he's going to have to go on that outside.
And there he goes again. Hall was looking around yesterday in the prelim, and he's going to win this easily, but is he going to run fast enough? Oh, by a whole lot. 45.69 is the official time, and he bests the Section 1 time by about 9/10 of a second. That was a runaway. Ben Lobo Vidal running fast enough to finish second for Florida, so that'll be 8 more points for the Gators. And Dedman was also under the time from Section 1. So 1, 2, 3 here is 1, 2, 3 in the conference.
Hall's running stride is just different, and looking around 3 and 4 times in a 400-meter, I don't think I've ever seen this at a conference championship. But right here, he takes a little peek behind, he's in the front in the black, and then look, it just starts to kind of fall apart form-wise going over the line. However, 45.69, Dwight, another personal best on his career.
300's better than he's ever run before. And the reason he was looking back is he didn't have a big screen to see what was going on behind him. He wins it easily. Ben Lobo Vidal and Bryce Dedman, all from this particular heat went 1, 2, 3, and then champion Allison from section 1 ends up 4th. So some points for Florida in 2nd and in 5th, which makes their overall lead just longer. This is the men's high jump. Shelby McEwen, the junior from Alabama, his first attempt at 7.4.5. No fewer than 5 athletes in this conference who've jumped 7.5 or better this year. He won this event last year. Keenan Lane, his father Gordon Lane, was a pretty good long jumper. A senior from Georgia, 3rd attempt at 7.5 3/4, a lifetime best. 3rd at this meet last year. But it was Juvon Harrison, the LSU sophomore, and what a difference in their builds. Lane looks like a wrestler, and Harrison like a mosquito. 7.5 3/4 PR also. He wins it on misses all the way up from 8th last year and 14th at the NCAA. So 2 guys over 7.5 3/4. You had to jump 7.2 1/4 to get 6th in the conference. The high jump is back in the SEC.
I know you're happy about that. The women's shot put was just finished, and Portia Warren, the senior out of Alabama, who was 3rd at this meet last year, wins with a personal best of 56.9 1/4. Michaela Hazelwood from Kentucky 2nd, 54.2, and Haley Teal of Alabama 3rd, 53 feet 8 1/4 inches.
Don't go away. The women's 60-meter hurdles are next. The defending SEC champ is gone, but the defending national champ remains. It's championship track and field on ESPN.
What really drew me to basketball was after my dad passed at my last little JV basketball game. He loved basketball and he loved to watch me play, so he was just like my best friend, honestly. Just someone I could just go outside, play with, talk to. When I tape my wrist, I put his rest in peace, DEH, his initials on it. I look down at my tape a lot of times and I just know I got to keep working, keep doing what I do to help me and the team.
Wow, we did it. We built the fastest network for the latest iPhones.
And the iPhone XR with a Retina display that makes everything look incredible.
It's like the perfect couple. You know, the ones who look great in every picture.
Like the ones who always make me feel like a before photo. Zoe and Chris.
Hey, guys. Hey, Zoe and Chris. How fun is that?
Yeah. AT&T has the fastest network for the latest iPhone. Get the mind-blowing iPhone XR on us when you buy the latest iPhone. AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing.
Your devices keep tons of data about you. When on public Wi-Fi, you might be exposing it to random strangers. Connect to NordVPN and keep your online data secure and private. Download now.
I used to spend my mornings like this. Endlessly scrolling and searching for all the latest sports news. It was not great. But now I have the ESPN Daily. It tells you everything you need to know, what to watch, and much more. One email every morning to get you caught up. Sign up now at espn.com/daily.
The moment is fleeting. A brush with greatness. Genius at its peak. Catch it while you can. The best in baseball. One night a week. One place to watch. Cubs. Dodgers. Sunday Night Baseball. Tomorrow on ESPN. Telecast presented by Taco Bell.
In the women's pentathlon, Aaliyah Wisby, the sophomore from Georgia, transferred from Kennesaw State, leads the conference with 43.72. She told us a little bit about why she wanted to transfer and train with Petros Kyprianou.
I picked Georgia because I wanted to be a part of a winning program. Like, they've had crazy amounts of success, and I know that I want to go far, and the people here have gone far. Like, you have world-class athletes that come here and go to the Olympics, and that's my goal. I want to go to the Olympics one day.
And success she did in the first event, the 60-meter hurdles. Really clean on the far left of your track in the all-black. Runs an 8:35 personal best. That was good for 1,050 points. Kelsey Herman from Arkansas right in front of her at 8:29 with 1,064 points. Anytime you can get 1,000 points in any of these individual events in the Pent, you are off to a great start. Second event is the high jump, and Wisby having a little chat with her coach, Petros Kyprianou, known for coaching insanely talented multis like Kendall Williams, no longer here. But this was Wisby's second attempt at 5'11.5". Teeny touch with the calves, but no problem. That was good for 1,003 points. Third event of the pentathlon is the shot put, and here is Arkansas junior Kelsey Herman. This was her second attempt. "40 feet 4 3/4". That was good for 692 points. She beat Wisby in that event by 126 points. And then the next event, the long jump, Herman on the runway for her first attempt. She's got ridiculous speed down the runway. Nice little penultimate step there, launches her up into the air. 20 feet, 1/4 of an inch, good for 880 points. And then going into the 800 meter, Kelsey had 31 points on Wisby and needed to beat her by 2.5 seconds. Wisby had a 2-second faster personal best in an 800. However, it was too much, and Herman was your overall winner, running 2:20.81, wins the pentathlon by 25 points, 4,330 points for Herman. There's your results. Kelsey Herman of Arkansas, followed by Aaliyah Wisby from Georgia, and Stacy Destin of Alabama was third.
In 1885, Dr. Thaddeus Pepper combined 23 flavors to create Dr. Pepper. He was then sucked into a flavor portal. Now he travels through time, treating friends to ice-cold Dr. Pepper. These are the adventures of Dr. Pepper.
Man, I wish we had some Dr. Pepper! And rich, delicious Dr. Pepper.
Cool robot.
Thanks, but actually he's a cooler from the future.
Wow.
Don't touch. He's very cold. Dr. Pepper, so nice to treat you.
The best in baseball. One night a week. One place to watch. Cubs. Dodgers. Sunday Night Baseball. Tomorrow on ESPN.
Here's where summer begins.
Welcome, everyone, to Omaha, Nebraska, home of the College World Series. We look forward to seeing how this last chapter gets written.
Where the fans come out to party. And the nation's top collegiate baseball teams come to win it all.
The stakes have never been higher.
The College World Series presented by Capital One continues tomorrow at 2 on ESPN.
Track here in Arkansas today. Wednesday, it is college basketball in the SEC. The number 5 team in the nation, Tennessee, taking on Ole Miss at the Pavilion in Oxford. 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 Central. You can always watch it on the ESPN app from anywhere. SEC college basketball. Well, we've seen him long jump. We've seen him in the 60. Finally, we get to see Grant Holloway in his specialty, the hurdles. Twice the SEC champ, twice the NCAA champ, and just recently, right here in Arkansas, ran 7:43, 1/100th off his collegiate best. Here's Dwight upstairs with the call for this race.
Grant Holloway, this was a few weeks ago, right back here at the Tyson Invitational, and he was gone like he always is in the hurdles. and runs 1/100th of a second off his own collegiate record. That was a couple of weeks ago. He had run that great 60 meters 2 weeks prior to that at the Razorback Invitational, where Jill and I were present. So we got to see that debut almost for 60 meters. Now he's in his specialty. And with the speed he just showed, who knows what might happen.
And this is what he does. He ran the 60 30 minutes ago, and he said, how I downshift is when I change my shoes from event to event. As soon as I put my shoes on, from the 60 to the 60 hurdles is when I go into that mental mode of what I need to focus on.
4-time NCAA champion, doesn't lose hurdles, 11-time All-American. He's just a junior. And we're surprised that he is here this year, and we are delighted. He's in lane 4. Got Holloway out quickly, but so was Daniel Roberts. Daniel Roberts is right there with Holloway, pressing him the whole way. You don't see that very often. 7:45, another time under 7:50 for Grant Holloway, but Daniel Roberts really gave chase. 7:48 for him. That is a big lifetime best for Roberts.
Well, it's just like we were talking about in the 60. He brings the field with him. That's 7:44 for Holloway, just 2/100ths of a second off of his collegiate record. In the middle of the track in the all-white, 7 steps to the first hurdle, and watch this technique. Flawless. Sprints over the hurdle. He reminds me of some of the great technicians, former world record holder Dayron Robles from Cuba and American record holder Aries Merritt. The technique over sprinting over the top of the hurdles, and he said what he hears in his head in between the hurdles is Coach Holloway's voice. Boom, boom, boom. They've been working on rhythm.
So Holloway wins it, but he was pressed the whole way. 7:44, just 200ths off his best ever. Daniel Roberts moves to number 4 all-time with that 7:48, and he made one heck of a race out of it. And I bet you the difference between that is 1 step to the first hurdle.
100%, because Grant Holloway, 7 steps to the first hurdle, and the rest of the field, 8 steps, and that is a huge difference.
So now we're 2/3 through with Grant Holloway. He gets to wait till the 4x400, and he's finally downstairs, ready to talk to John Anderson.
All right, here he is, 3-time. Hello, Grant. How are you? Congratulations on a 3rd SEC championship. But hey, you had somebody in the side view mirror. That never happens before. How do you handle that?
Just come out, finish executing the race. You know what I mean? 7:45 is not a slow time, and neither is 7:48. So that just shows we were both running through the hurdles, and luckily I just executed a little bit better than Daniel. We both did the double, so in all honesty, we just came out and just competed.
There you go. It's been corrected, 7:44. He's now got 8 in his top 10 as we try to make it a clean sweep for Holloway. And quickly, tell us about your 60, because you're the conference champ in that race as well.
60 was fun, That's a good event to open up for the hurdles. 6:54, fast time, so I'm not complaining about that.
Good, stay loose. I want to see you in the 4x4.
4x4 it is.
Very good. The Gators, it's great to be a Florida Gator. So listen, you can be famous for running for 7.5 seconds. Sometimes you got to compete for 2 days. When we come back, Jill takes us through the 7 grueling events of the pentathlon.
I found a way to relieve my constipation that's both gentle and fast.
New Dulcolax liquid works naturally with the water in my body to provide gentle relief in as little as 30 minutes. New stimulant-free Dulcolax liquid puts you comfortably in control.
Here's where summer begins.
Welcome everyone to Omaha, Nebraska, home of the College World Series. We look forward to seeing how this last chapter gets written.
Where the fans come out to party. And the nation's top collegiate baseball teams come to win it all.
The stakes have never been higher.
The College World Series presented by Capital One continues tomorrow at 2 on ESPN.
My mornings like this. Endlessly scrolling and searching for all the latest sports news. It was not great. But now I have the ESPN Daily. It tells you everything you need to know, what to watch, and much more. One email every morning to get you caught up. Sign up now at espn.com/daily.
You're watching the 2019 SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships from the Randall Tyson Track Center in Fayetteville, Arkansas. The home team coming in with a dominant squad on the women's side. Dwight Stones, Joe Montgomery, John Anderson with your commentary and analysis of this event. And they're not at triple digits yet, but Arkansas well on its way to a 5th straight women's title here in the SEC. 92 points through 10 events. They're up 41 points on Alabama. More racing. We go upstairs. It's Dwight and Joe.
All right, John, a runaway for Arkansas like we knew it would be as we get ready now for the women's 800 meters. The collegiate record is held by Jasmine Frey. She is in this final. Nicole Cook of Tennessee set the meet record, and Martha Bissau of Norfolk State has the best time in the country this year. And there is Ursula Farrell, the senior from LSU, 8th at this meet last year.
Ursula Farrell and her teammate Katie Ann McDonald right next to each other in hips 2 and 3. This is where Dennis Shaver from LSU said that his team can pick up some points. He said they've got better every single week, and their strategy was progression going into this event, and these two young ladies have done exactly that. Katie Ann McDonald right next to Ursula. And watch for these two women to pull off of each other. This is going to be a practice strategy race that they have. Jasmine Frey will go to the front as she usually does. We expect her to. There she is in the maroon. She didn't have a very good prelim coming into this, not quite the pop and stamina that we have seen her have in her prior 800-meter races.
Frey setting that collegiate record 2 years ago when she was a sophomore. Katie Ann McDonald with a big indoor personal best in the prelims. So it should be a very interesting race. And as you said, Jasmine Frey loves to lead. So we expect to see her out there pushing the pace.
And she will have to make sure that if and when she does take this pole position off this third curve, that she is in a position to have her stride length and her rhythm in her feet not prohibiting her from there she goes, and that's exactly what she did, not prohibiting her to have to run out in lane 2. So she got right out in front and is in a better position than she was last night in the prelims.
Charlotte Caton Smith of Mississippi State was racing hard in the early part, looking like she may have wanted to get the pole, but she gives it up to Jasmine Frey. Now Frey gets to control things from the front, but that also means she has no one to push the air aside as she's going by. Alexander Burns of Arkansas right there in 2nd place, and then Ursula Farrell and Charlotte Caton Smith.
And it's advantageous for the women behind Jasmine Frey in front because they can gauge off of her and almost use her. This 200 right here is where you have got to start making some moves. The third 200 of the 800 is the strategy part. This is where some people will end up having a little bit of their time come off, but if you're going to make a move, this is where to do it.
Frey was 60.1 at the 400. Let's see how much she falls off on this third 200. That has been her nemesis of late this last couple of seasons when she has been, or since her collegiate record, and she slowed it down considerably.
Alexander Burns from Arkansas hanging in there and running a great race, just drafting off Frey. We'll see if she has any kick on this backstretch.
This gap has slowly gotten longer and longer between Frey and Burns doesn't look like she has the other gear. Ursula Farrell now starting to gather herself, knowing that Frey of late has been dying in the last 100 meters, and that's exactly what's happening.
And Amber Tanner from Georgia making a move.
Ursula Farrell has the momentum. Can Frey hold her off? She digs down for the strength. Can she do it? Yes, Jasmine Frey does hold her off. She did not look good with 100 meters to go, but gathered herself. That's that strength and the experience of being a senior.
100%. 2:05.42 official for Jasmine Frey. Listen, leading wire to wire is so difficult in this race, but that's what she does. Her coach, Pat Henry, told me that she does not run well from the back. In the front, in the all maroon, just fighting off Ursula Farrell and Amber Tanner from Georgia.
And the look on her face to me said, really, 205?
Yeah, and
it hurt a whole lot for 205.
But look at her shoulders. If you watch just then on the far right of your screen, her shoulders were up a little bit. She's not running as relaxed as we've seen her run, but SEC champion, 10 points for A&M.
She wins it by 900ths of a second over the charging Ursula Farrow, and Amber Tanner of Georgia ends up third, and Jasmine is downstairs with John.
All right, Jasmine Fry, second time now you are the SEC champ. This seems to be, looking at the times, been a struggle of a year. What made the difference this weekend?
What makes a difference is my team. I love my team so much, and I just want to do anything I can to support them, bring in the most points, and do what I need to do so we can win this.
And the last 400 meters, you come through in 60, and then that was really listen, the last 100 was a fight.
Yeah, I just had to keep going, push, think of my teammates, my coaches, trainers, everybody that's involved in our program, and just try my best, and that's what I did, and it worked out well.
Jasmine Frey, not favored off the form chart, but she is the SEC champ again.
Thank you.
The men's 800 meters is up next. Devin Dixon back to defend his SEC title for the Aggies. He's broken records already this season, but will have to deal with a tenacious Mississippi State Bulldog for 4 laps. More great tracks coming.
Wow, we did it. We built the fastest network for the latest iPhone.
And the iPhone XR with a Retina display that makes everything look incredible.
It's like the perfect couple. You know, the ones who look great in every picture.
Like the ones who always make me feel like a before photo. Zoe and Chris.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Zoe and Chris.
All right.
How fun is that?
Yeah. AT&T has the fastest network for the latest iPhone. Get the mind-blowing iPhone XR on us when you buy the latest iPhone. AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing.
The moment is fleeting. A brush with greatness. Genius at its peak. Catch it while you can. The best in baseball. One night a week. One place to watch. Cubs. Dodgers. Sunday Night Baseball. Tomorrow on ESPN. Telecast presented by Taco Bell.
Here's where summer begins.
Welcome, everyone, to Omaha, Nebraska, home of the College World Series. We look forward to seeing how this last chapter gets written.
Where the fans come out to party. And the nation's top collegiate baseball teams come to win it all.
The stakes have never been higher.
The College World Series presented by Capital One continues tomorrow at 2 on ESPN.
It is the 2019 SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships as we look at the men's team standings through 12 of the 17 events. And Florida coming in, everybody thought maybe first team to 85 wins it, and Florida's gone by that, and they have more points in store. Really a strong showing for Mike Holloway's Gators here through 12 events. Host Arkansas just behind. Ready for the men's 800. Going to be a great one. Here's Dwight with the call.
Yeah, John, it's why they have the track meet. On paper, it doesn't mean anything. These kids got to get out and run and jump and throw, and you never know what it's going to end up being the result. Collegiate record holder is held by Paul Ehring, the Olympic champion from 1988. Donovan Brazier has the meet record in that 1 year that he was at A&M. And Devin Dixon has the fastest time in the country amongst collegians. But we are going to look first at Marco Urope of Mississippi State, who has also run pretty fast time this year.
He has. He actually had a really good showing earlier this year at the Razorback Invitational. Had a nice prelim, third fastest qualifier coming into this race. Ran very relaxed last night. And in this 800 meters, you've got to do that because coming back and replicating any kind of a strong race last night is difficult.
And right next to him is the A&M junior, Devin Dixon. He explains how he felt setting the NCAA leading mark in the 800 meters.
I felt like the most, I don't know how to explain it, I felt like the most me I've ever felt when I run. I don't know if that really makes any sense. I just felt like me. I just felt like completely me. I was running the way I was supposed to. Everything was going right. My breathing was controlled. My pacing was set right, perfectly. And the rabbit, he ran out fast enough for me to, get out there with him. So, yeah, it's been a crazy season. I'm just excited to see what else happens next.
Yeah, Devin Dixon was the best possible antidote to the loss of Donovan Brazier after his freshman year. He has just stepped in and done great work, not only in the 800, but also in the 4x4.
And in talking with his coach, Pat Henry, he said when he did run that 1:45.27 to lead the country, he planned on going out hard. He came through the 600 in 1:17.
Yeah, that's running.
Oh,
They got to reshoot the gun, and it's Devin Dixon. Of course, the rule is you recall him if that happens in the first 100 meters, and now he's got to regather himself. And everybody wants to try to get a little bit of an advantage.
Oh, and there was a little bit of pushing and shoving between him and Urope right at the very beginning before they took off. A little elbow coming over from Urope, and that's just getting set. You're just getting set.
But it looks like Kieran Taylor of Arkansas is the one that kind of shoved him, not purposely, but just to keep his balance. Let's see if we can pick that up. Urope definitely moved to the right a little bit, but see what happens with the Arkansas guy. Yeah, he just pushed him.
Yeah, there was a little bit of shoving going on. Again, like we saw in the 60-meter hurdles, there was a little movement, as you saw, of Urope and the Arkansas guy. But here's the thing. Now, again, like the 60-meter hurdle false start, you've got to mentally now refocus. Your heart's beating a little bit faster, you're jittering, and now you're going to stay on that line a touch longer when they bring you up and say set.
Taylor gave him a little left forearm rip there. Luckily, he didn't get stepped on by anybody. But
800 meters, a contact sport.
Exactly. Anytime you go down, that track doesn't give much, I'm not thinking. All right, Devin Dixon. He's a veteran. He's going to gather himself. They clean away this time, and Urope got stuck back there like he did yesterday in the prelims.
He did, but you know what? He always has been able to position himself in the lanes correctly in order to make the move. Again, watch for these first 400 to take out the pace just for positioning off this pole right here and run really hard into this second 200.
Dixon ran the first 400 very hard yesterday in the prelims and then just coasted to an easy 1:48.5. Let's see if he employs the same tactic. Urope well back right now in 5th.
25 seconds for Dixon on that first 200. And again, the strategy to pass on this banked curve is to make sure you try to set yourself up the acceleration off the curves and pass on the straight.
He went through in 51 yesterday. He's definitely slower than that today. 52. So 1 second is a big deal in the 800.
And Urope right here, this is where he usually kind of hits his stride. He's currently in 3rd, very tall, all white, going out to lane 3 to pass, just like he did in the prelims.
All right, so now we have an interesting race. Urope has now thrown down the gauntlet. 2 A&M Aggies right behind him, and Dixon and Orange, and the gap is starting to widen. Here comes the bell, and I don't see a move from Dixon right now.
Urope needs to just take his time, make sure he lifts his knees on this backstretch. He knows that this field is going to be coming for him, especially in this last 50 meters.
I'm just not seeing a gear change out of Devin Dixon. I don't know if it's the fall, even though the gap is starting to shorten a little bit as Urope starts to tie up. Dixon may have sensed that, and here he comes, back from the dead, and Dixon wins it. He defends his championship. Urope may have just gone a little earlier than he was really ready to do, and Dixon must have known that.
Well, it was a slow pace, as you said. Through the 400, they were a second off, so Urope just kept running his own race, and to make that move in the second part of that third 200, the field is going to end up coming back to you.
So here's the move by Urope at the exact right time, in that it was on the backstretch.
Yeah.
But it must have taken more out of him than he expected. I mean, didn't run slow. 1:47.47 is a heck of a good time, even off a 52-second first lap.
It is, but Devin Dixon actually was very patient. That shows his maturity. He knew that Urope was ahead of him, knowing he had about 152 make a move, just depending on how much he had in the tank, and then taking him over in the last 30 meters.
That was savvy running by Devin Dixon. I didn't think he had it. He wins it, and A&M goes 1-3. Mississippi State 2nd, 4th, and 5th, so big points for the Bulldogs, but the champion for the second time is downstairs with John.
Devin Dixon signaling to his people, Gig'em Aggies, we need to talk about the start, we need to talk about the finish. How do you refocus after you take a dive on the first start?
It was a little minor setback. And stuff like that happens all the time. Coach Herman trains us to get used to it and get ready to go back stronger.
All right, and then Marcus, he takes off on you. What was the decision to let him go there?
I know Marco, he's a very fast athlete, but I know him taking it out, I knew and he knew that he was giving his all in that last one. I knew if I just stuck with him, I'd be able to get it.
We let Marco get on front, but you didn't get away from him. Champ in the 800 meters, Devin Dixon, once again, 1-3 for the Aggies. Up next, it's hard to miscount one. A single lap determines the 200-meter champ. Lena Irby seems like a good bet, but Kentucky, Alabama, Arkansas, A&M, they'll all give chase next.
Oh, I forgot the...
Dr. Pepper! And delicious Dr. Pepper. Are you worried your time travel will alter the future? The butterfly effect? Nah. Ah! Oh, they're gentle creatures. Dr. Pepper, so nice to treat you!
The moment is fleeting. A brush with greatness. Genius at its peak. Catch it while you can. The best in baseball. One night a week. One place to watch. Cubs. Dodgers. Sunday Night Baseball. Tomorrow on ESPN. Telecast presented by Taco Bell.
Back here in Fayetteville, Arkansas, home of the Hogs and a lot of track and field history. That's downtown. If you go eat at Hugo's, which is what you got to do when you come to Fayetteville, you get a good look at that building. So we come inside this building, the Randall Tyson Track Center, for the SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships. As it's getting late in the day and late in the team races, we look at the women's standing, and it's the host Arkansas Razorbacks who are looking to capture their 9th SEC title. 96 points, well ahead of LSU, Alabama, and Texas A&M. So as we throw it back up to the booth, we got a heck of a race for second, guys.
And that's what we'll try and spend as much time focusing on as we can as we get ready for the women's 2-section final in the 200. Gabby Thomas setting that collegiate record last year at A&M. Felicia Brown of Tennessee has the meet record. Kayla White of North Carolina A&T with the fastest time in the country this year. So same as the 400. Except it's 1 lap instead of 2, but the same as the 400, it's a 2-section final. You can win it from either section. And Maya McCoy has the preferred lane 5.
She just got done running the 60-meter hurdles, or 60-meter dash rather, where she was 3rd. And head coach Beth Alfred Sullivan is doing a really good job rebuilding around the sprints and the jumps and the relays, which includes McCoy. She has been a very big workhorse for them. One of the cool things that you will see also in this race is the 60-meter hurdle champion, or 60-meter even champ on Courtney. She's back for a 2.
LSU senior Courtney Johnson has some goals set in this 200 for this year as well.
I have some goals in the 200 as well. I want to run like 22.6, 22.7, but I definitely know that you have to stay focused and execute the race. And I know that I cannot tense up, because sometimes I have the tendency to tense up and I'll start, not running my race. But if I just stay relaxed, I know that I can achieve my goals.
Staying relaxed is one of the biggest things that she told me that she wanted to do in this race, knowing she was coming back from that 60. She's been more of a vocal leader for this team.
But she ran the 60 meters earlier, winning it. There she is in lane number 5, or number 4, I should say. Open lane next to her. Not the best start that she could get, but so strong in the second half. So she has the turnover speed, and being out in lane 6, she has no one to key off. She's got to run scared.
Nope, she doesn't. And here's the thing, that vocal leadership I was just talking about, she says has transferred over into leadership in her running. She said Micaiah Briscoe, no longer with the team, used to be that vocal leader. She's rather shy, and she said, I now have to let that leadership show through my performance.
So Maya McCoy in 5. Gets a rabbit in Courtney Johnson in 6. Both out very aggressively. Maya McCoy making up a little bit of the stagger on Johnson. Now she is really gone. Maya McCoy.
Yeah, both these women.
Courtney Johnson, she's a veteran. Can she gather herself off of this lane 6 slingshot? It is going to be Maya McCoy, and next to her, Abby Steiner of Kentucky coming up and making a race of it. Unofficially 23:13, now corrected to 23:15. So she establishes the time to beat for section 2 to shoot for.
Both these women got out of the blocks very strong. Courtney Johnson stayed down, did a really nice job. However, Maya McCoy's turnover off of that curve was just a little bit quicker as you see her coming into the screen in the orange. Look at the turnover factor. You've got to accelerate up that curve, hold it right here, don't lose your form, and then accelerate back down this curve and don't float. You've got to accelerate off that curve, and McCoy just held her sprint position. Look at the front end mechanics. Knees are up, ankles behind her, and she didn't waver. Second from the left in the orange. Look at the knee lift of McCoy. Flawless.
Abby Steiner made a heck of a race out of it, just 400ths back in second. So Maya McCoy establishes the time to beat at 23:15, and then Abby Steiner second at 23:19. Courtney Johnson fading back to 23:43 in third.
Listen, it's difficult to come back and run a 200 after you just ran a 60, 25 minutes ago? This is a testament to a lot of these athletes, both on the men and women's side, a lot of them doubling and tripling back, and the level of talent still having these kinds of times after having 4 and 5 events in the last 24 hours is impressive.
So section 2 now on the track, and this is Tamara Clark, the sophomore from Alabama. Did not qualify in the 60, but ran 23:02 yesterday in the prelim.
And that was a personal best for her. She was the top qualifier coming out of that prelim. Another one of the sophomores, the younger generation that we are talking about, the level of talent that is coming in and just being huge and deep across the board. A couple years ago, there was 1 or 2 superstars in every event, and now they're 3 and 4 deep.
Just looked at my clock and the schedule of events. These women ran the 60 meters an hour and 15 minutes ago.
Well, and don't forget Peyton Chadwick, who's up in lane 6, just won the hurdles about 25 minutes ago.
So Chadwick is up in lane 6 with no one to key off of. But her strength in that lane 6, and it's a little bit of an uphill in that second curve.
It is, but this is her track, so you know that Lance Harder has had her running in every single one of these lanes. Peyton Chadwick is the reigning national indoor champion in the hurdles. However, I think this event is her better event.
She ran the hurdles and won them in 8.02, the first Razorback female to ever do so, which was amazing to me, and the amount of hurdlers that they've had over the last decade. So she's out in 6. Tamara Clark, the sophomore from Alabama, just inside her. Ran 23:02 yesterday. Chadwick has a 22:97 personal best run this year. Not a great reaction of the gun for Chadwick in this 200 either.
Clark got out.
Chadwick, the rabbit for Clark, now is where the strength and the experience is going to kick in. Clark with good turnover. A good slingshot off of lane 5. Chadwick's going to have to really dig down deep. It's not going to happen. Tamara Clark wins it, and she breaks 23, so we know she's the overall winner. Just how much down? 22:90.
Woo!
for Tamara Clark, that is another lifetime best for her over her 23:02 from yesterday.
And it
Chadwick,
actually puts her
23:01.
Yeah, and it puts her third in the country right now. The turnover speed and just staying down that Clark had coming off, when you're up in that lane 5, that is the preferred lane, that you just have a teeny part of that curve to accelerate. You've got to hold it down the backstretch and then accelerate back up, and make sure that your hip placement and your knee lift right here coming off that final is up and down, and that's exactly what Clark did. She started to strain a teensy bit with about 5 meters to go, but her turnover was amazing. 22.90.
Number 3 time in the country, and the first time in 25 years that an Alabama female has won the 200. She wins it in 22.90. Peyton Chadwick with a very credible performance at 23.01, just off her lifetime best. And Maya McCoy from Section 1 ends up third. And Tamara Clark is downstairs with John.
Thank you, Dwight. Yeah, it's quite a day. If you can win the conference championship and set a PR, I feel like that's a really good Saturday. Where'd the race come from?
Last night I couldn't sleep. I was just thinking about a race. So just last year I didn't even make it to the finals or the nationals period. So the drive, I'm so sorry, the drives made.
You won. You don't have to apologize.
It's just the passion I have for the sport. It's just amazing. So I just keep pushing through it.
So when you're up all night with your insomnia, what are you thinking about?
The race over and over in my head. The 200, like I dreamed about it all night.
And it came out how you expected? Did we visualize it last night when we were sitting out?
Better than I expected. So I just got nervous. I just ran.
Nothing's better being the champ. Roll Tide. All right, from the 200, we're off to the circle. And we're going to go to some field events with the men's throwers.
All right, John, the long jump was held yesterday. Grant Holloway, one of the 3 events he contested yesterday. This was his 3rd attempt, his best mark of the afternoon. 25.8 3/4. He was in contention, but it just wasn't enough to pull off the triple win. Rayvon Gray, the junior from LSU, this was his 2nd attempt. It was his best. He is the NCAA leader at 26.5½. He broke Bob Beeman's New York high school record that stood since 1965. That's a great stat. So Gray bests Holloway in the long jump by just 3/4 of an inch and basically ruined Grant Holloway's weekend. He could have been 4 for 4. Instead, he could be 3.5 for 4. Holloway gets 2nd place points for Florida. Then we go along to the weight throw, and this was a great competition. This is Thomas Mardal, the sophomore from Florida and from Norway. His 3rd throw of 6 in the competition. He was 4th at this meet last year, and he spins it out to 74.1½. And here's the guy we thought would be the favorite. He owns the throws. Denzel Kamenincha from the Netherlands and Georgia. 6th throw, 74.10½. He takes the lead from 4th place and thought he had it all in hand. He is the defending champion, but in walked A.J. McFarland, also from Florida. It's just Florida's day. Led the whole competition until Kamenincha had that 6th-round throw, and he said, oh, really? Okay, well, then I'll just go 76.7 and up my 3rd place finish from last year to 1st and just give more points to the Gators that they don't need today. A.J. McFarland steals it from Denzel Kamenincha in the final round to cream him by nearly 2 feet. 3 guys over 74 feet, 2 of them Gators. 16 for Florida.
How about a 200-meter race? 2 seconds faster. Lace them up and hope for a good lane draw, then hustle. The men's sprinters out for a fast lap next. You're watching SEC Track and Field.
The Mercedes-Benz of tomorrow will transform not just the automobile, but mobility itself. An autonomous thinking vehicle protecting those inside and out. And it's the Mercedes-Benz of today that will help us get there. The 2019 E-Class, with innovations that will change the way we drive from this day forward. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing.
Your devices keep tons of data about you. Where you live and what you like. What your loved ones like. And the little surprise you've been planning. How you look, and even who your friends are. When online, your devices share this data with each other. Are you sharing it with random strangers on public Wi-Fi as well? You never know. Connect to NordVPN and keep your online data secure and private. Download now.
The moment is fleeting. A brush with greatness. Genius at its peak. Catch it while you can. The best in baseball. One night a week. One place to watch. Cubs. Dodgers. Sunday Night Baseball. Tomorrow on ESPN. Telecast presented by Taco Bell.
Here's where summer begins.
Welcome, everyone, to Omaha, Nebraska, home of the College World Series. We look forward to seeing how this last chapter gets written.
Where the fans come out to party. And the nation's top collegiate baseball teams come to win it all.
The stakes have never been higher.
The College World Series presented by Capital One continues tomorrow at 2 on ESPN.
You're watching the 2019 SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships from Fayetteville, Arkansas. Randall Tyson Track Center hosting this event for the 9th time, and we're going right to the booth for field event action with Jill and Dwight.
Okay, John, women's high jump, which is really in a funk these days. Ellen Ekholm, the junior from Kentucky and from Sweden. First attempt at 5.9 3/4. She was 6th at this meet last year, 7th in the outdoor conference meet. This is Abigail Kwarteng, the junior from Alabama, transfer from Western State College at 5'11.5". She represents Ghana internationally and over cleanly on her 3rd attempt. But the winner on misses is Abigail O'Donohue, the LSU sophomore. First attempt at a personal best height of 5'11.5", but she just brushes. 8th at this meet last year. That puts her equal with her mom on the all-time list at LSU. But to win this conference under 6 feet with the kind of jumpers that have been here previously, really signals that the high jump needs a little bit of an upgrade in this country. O'Donohue wins it on misses over Kwarteng. Ellen Ekholm finishing 3rd. Getting ready for section 2 of the 3,000 meters for women. Arkansas ahead now by 40 points over Alabama, who then has a 10-point lead over LSU. Collegiate record held by Carissa Schweitzer, set last year. And she also has the meet record. And Alicia Monson of Wisconsin with the best time in the country this year. Taylor Werner back from her wonderful performance yesterday in the 5,000 meters.
And man, what a season she has had indoors so far. Talked to her earlier this month at Razorback when she won the 3,000 there. She's finally pain-free after 18 months ago. She had an accident. Her speed is there, her strength is there, her stamina is there. And also there, one of her training partners with Hip 8, Lauren Gregory, is there as well in this meet. But watch for Werner to just sit and hang out for the first half of this race.
By contrast, just 16 athletes in this section 2 final, as opposed to the 42 we had in the section 1 final. And we do have a couple of scratches, hip 5 and hip 8. Jessica Pascoe, who we saw fall yesterday, and Lauren Gregory, who we just mentioned. We can't find her because she is a scratch.
Yeah, that's a surprising scratch.
Well, Arkansas has the meet well in hand on the women's side from a team title perspective, and if there's a little bit of something that is bothering Lauren Gregory, they really don't need the points.
No, and also they're going to get points possibly from Devin Clark and Rachel Nitschwich, both from Arkansas, wearing hip 10 and 11. Remember, Devin Clark, when she came in a couple years ago as a freshman, Lance Harder raved about her and said, hey, listen, this is one of the better freshmen that we have had, and now she has become a veteran of this distance squad that we spoke about off the top of the show. Front to back, side to side, up, crossways, downways, aroundways. Arkansas is solid in every single aspect of track and field.
Now we saw Maddie Reed part of that 1-2-3 sweep by Arkansas earlier in the mile. She was third, doubling back here in the 3,000. Devin Clark was fifth in this race last year for the Razorbacks, and Rachel Nichtwich sixth in this race last year. So they got big points last year in this event, which they often do anyway.
And right now, all three Arkansas women are up in the top, as you see Taylor Warner, Maddie Reed, and I believe is that Devin Clark tucked behind there?
I don't know.
That is
number
Sydney.
1. That's Sydney Brown.
That is Sydney. Training partners all day, every day on this track, very advantageous. I was talking to Lance Harder last night about the workouts that some of these women do, and it has been brutal for Taylor Warner when I was talking about the 5,000 last night and the speed that you're gonna see in this 3,000. They do 4 200-meter cut downs, so they're running 200 meters, every single one of them getting faster, then jog for 3 minutes, and then run a 1,200 and go 70, 70, 65 to work on speed, and they do that 3 times in a workout.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Would you die?
Well, I'm a sprinter. Of course I'd die.
Right now, Taylor's running 9:30 pace, last 400 meters, right at 75 seconds, and she's just hanging out. This has kind of been her dual plan race strategy. If the pace isn't fast, she's gonna hang out. She'll let everybody else kind of follow her, but then if it doesn't pick up, she'll pick it up with about 1,200 to go and start pushing that pace.
Arkansas originally had 6 entries in this Section 2 final. They had a scratch, so now they're just down to 5. So they had more than a third of the entire field.
Arkansas right now sitting 1, 2, 3, and 5. Devin Clark with the blonde ponytail in the all maroon for Arkansas, 5th.
And it looks like the same strategy they employed in the mile, get them all up there in the front, and they just dictate the pace and dare anybody to try and penetrate that first 3.
Lauren Gregory, who scratched, was a late scratch in this race, has the better speed of a lot of the distance runners that Lance was telling me about. But Taylor Werner right in there and just brings speed, and she'll end up cutting away here soon.
All right, let's step aside for a moment, go down to John Anderson.
So the Hogs looking good as we have 10 laps to go in this race. When we return, Arkansas, the women will go from a win in this event to a rout. Back to finish up the 3,000 after this.
Wow, we did it. We built the fastest network for the latest iPhone.
And the iPhone XR with a Retina display that makes everything look incredible.
It's like the perfect couple. You know, the ones who look great in every picture.
Like the ones who always make me feel like a before photo. Zoe and Chris.
Hey, guys. Hey, Zoe and Chris.
All right.
How fun is that?
Yeah.
AT&T has the fastest network for the latest iPhone. Get the mind-blowing iPhone XR on us when you buy the latest iPhone. AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing.
When you rent a car on Turo, you're renting from a real person. No shuttle rides, no waiting in line, and no wandering a car lot. This is better than your typical car rental. This is Turo. Download the app today.
Here's where summer begins.
Welcome, everyone, to Omaha, Nebraska, home of the College World Series. We look forward to seeing how this last chapter gets written.
Where the fans come out to party. And the nation's top collegiate baseball teams come to win it all.
The stakes have never been higher.
The College World Series presented by Capital One continues tomorrow at 2 on ESPN.
I used to spend my mornings like this. Endlessly scrolling and searching for all the latest sports news. It was not great. But now I have the ESPN Daily. It tells you everything you need to know, what to watch, and much more. One email every morning to get you caught up. Sign up now at espn.com/daily.
Racing in progress. It's the women's 3,000 meter here at the SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships. Back to call the finish. It's Jill and Dwight.
All right, John, coming around with 9 laps remaining, and not much has changed. Taylor Werner still leading as she did in the 5,000 last night, dictating the pace, but we do have a little penetration into the top 3.
They've slowed down a teensy bit. The last 400 they were on 9:30 pace, and now they're running around 9:37 pace, but don't let that be deceiving. This is how these Arkansas women train. They don't want to expend any more energy than they have to, and they always make that offensive move. Coach Harder said, we'll push the pace if we need to. If it still remains slow with about 1,200, that's where we really kind of kick into our strategy of training and go see what we can do and then set it up for the kick.
Joyce Camelli of Auburn and Kenya is currently running 3rd with Arkansas 1st, 2nd, and 4th.
Look at how relaxed Taylor Werner is in the front. She just keeps peeking up at the board just to see where the field is, and what's been so impressive about her is after recovering from that accident 18 months ago, she had a lot of back injury. She couldn't train, she couldn't get her speed work in, and at the Razorback meet that you and I called earlier in January after she won the 3,000, the Monday before that event, she had her very first pain-free practice in 18 months. She was so passionate about it, she started crying almost in the interview because she said, finally, I can finally run without any pain. And now the raw speed that Lance Harder has been able to turn her with right away is showing in last night and then now tonight in the 3,000.
So it's a distinct group of 5 now, 3 of them Razorbacks. The other Joyce Camelli of Auburn, and the 5th is Madeline King of Ole Miss.
Devin Clark has now moved up from that 5th position into 3rd. She was 5th in this event last year. She's an All-American in the steeple.
So Joyce Camelli of Auburn might have some designs on going with Taylor Werner whenever it is she decides to go. And we're coming up with 5 laps remaining, and things are starting to spread out a little bit more, losing Madeline King off the back from Ole Miss. Now a distinct group of 3, Werner of Arkansas, Camelli of Auburn, and Clark of Arkansas.
Watch right here for Werner to start having a little bit more of that turnover in her step. The 2-part training diamond or pyramid, as you would say, when I was talking to Lance Harder, he said, listen, he said, the speed work that we do that comes off of some of the workouts I just told you, but also mile cut downs. They'll do mile cut downs where they'll either go above or below pace, and that way you have a 5th gear anytime you want it in this race, just like Taylor does right now, and she can go and pull that 5th gear when she wants.
Less than 4 laps remaining now, and Camelli did not cover the move that Werner made. And we saw yesterday that she can run it from well out. She has no trouble running that from 800 meters out. And she just continues to just push.
Stride length, nice and relaxed. Arms are nice and relaxed. Look at how fluid she looks. Very relaxed look on her face. She doesn't, even though she's pushing, she's not straining.
3 laps remaining, and the gap has now become about 20 meters between Werner and Camelli. Clark of Arkansas now another 10 to 12 meters back in 3rd.
Taylor Werner on that last lap, 35.4 for that 200, so she has picked it up. Watch her stretch out. This is where she's going to go even further, Dwight. This is what she did in the 5,000 last night. She knew she had the field covered, and this is now, honestly, a testament to where she is mentally. Being able to run pain-free for the first time. And this is that raw speed that she has, and she can put it to the test at any time. And it's just, it's a great mental feeling when you get to that point in your career.
Taylor Werner has this race well in hand. It's now up to Devin Clark to try and catch Joyce Camelli so they can make it a 1-2 sweep for Arkansas. Crowd's starting to really pay attention. It's a huge advantage to have the kind of depth that they have, but also have the hometown crowd behind them.
You mentioned the depth, and when I was talking with their coach Lance Harder, I said, listen, what made this team different from teams in the past? And he said, it's amazing to see as we hit Taylor's last 200, it's amazing to see that when everybody goes out and just does their job and they end up supporting each other, we actually end up getting significantly better.
The gap now is 35 to 40 meters. Taylor Werner is in pretty much a full sprint, running around 9:22 pace. And that gap between second and third is narrowed a bit, but probably not enough to make it a 1-2 sweep for Arkansas. Here comes Taylor Werner. She won the 5,000 on day one. She makes it the double for the first time since Tennessee Chelsea Blas did it in 2016. And she looks back to see what her teammate is doing. It's going to be Joyce Camelli of Auburn finishing second. Devin Clark of Arkansas getting third place points. Melissa McGinney of Missouri finishing fourth. And Kelsey Warren of A&M coming up from fifth. We didn't see her at all until this last couple of races. Looks like laps. It looks like Maddie Reed might have scored also for Arkansas. We'll wait to see the official results. But it's a big, big point opportunity for Arkansas, and they certainly delivered first and third at least. Taylor Werner wins it. And Maddie Reed was seventh. So first and third and seventh. That's 18 points for the Razorbacks in this 3,000 meters. And Taylor Werner has 2 more weeks to prepare for the NCAA championships to see if she can pull off the same type of double. But just to be able to be at that level again and run, as you said, pain-free and with so much confidence. We saw her just 4 weeks ago, and she was so pleased that she was able to do it. Now she's running like it's been there the entire time as we now get ready to go down to John Anderson, who has the winner.
All right, I say this as a man who is overweight and out of shape, but that seemed awfully easy for you in that run.
I was trying to just get out for my teammates and set a consistent pace, and the goal was, okay, to go try and kick it in. It worked out well.
Okay, what's harder, this or keeping a 4-point average in kinesiology and sciences?
They're just different, but not gonna lie, I really focus on the athlete work. But no, I mean, just gotta get it done and represent, I guess.
I feel like, though, don't you feel like maybe you're overachieving and making the rest of us feel bad as a conference champ and the indoor SEC athlete of the year?
No, can't be content. Just keep striving for more and see what I'm capable of.
Quickly, how about the team score? You guys, this is a rout.
It's incredible. I mean, we came into the season, I nearly redshirted, and they were like, listen, your team could win a national title. I was like, sign me up, like, let's go. And it's just in practice, out and in, everyone's just so focused, and it's incredible.
Taylor Werner, great champion, great student, and perhaps a national champion. We're going back to the booth, and we've got a lot of track. We need some field.
And you're going to get some field. Men's triple jump, and Laquan Nair, the junior from Arkansas, 4th attempt. He's from the Bahamas, 4th at this meet last year. Boom, 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 out to 52, 7 1/4. Clayton Brown of Florida, the junior. This was his 2nd attempt. He's from Jamaica. He is the defending champion, 4th at the NCAA indoors. Good arms on that particular effort, 53, 4 1/4. This is Tahar Triki, the NCAA leader from Algeria. Texas A&M, this was his very first jump of the competition. He just put it away. 56 feet 2 inches. That's a national Algerian record. 5th at the university games. And he won the NCAAs outdoors last year. He just blows this field away by nearly 3 feet. Triki, a bright spot for Texas A&M in the triple jump. Florida gets 2nd place points.
All right, on the heels of Texas A&M, here's Mondo Duplantis, whose mom and dad both ran for Pat Henry, who's now the Aggies coach when they were at LSU. And Mondo Duplantis, after chasing all season long the indoor collegiate record on this night, makes it 19 feet 5 inches, SEC champ, and the collegiate record holder indoors. Mondo Duplantis, LSU. More racing ahead here at the SEC Championships. 3,000 meters more. Arkansas and Alabama load up and face off. Indoor, outdoor, cross country. These guys have battled before, and it'll be a beauty.
Here's where summer begins.
Welcome, everyone, to Omaha, Nebraska, home of the College World Series. We look forward to seeing how this last chapter gets written.
Where the fans come out to party. And the nation's top collegiate baseball teams come to win it all.
The stakes have never been higher.
The College World Series presented by Capital One continues tomorrow at 2 on ESPN.
The moment is fleeting. A brush with greatness. Genius at its peak. Catch it while you can. The best in baseball. One night a week. One place to watch. Cubs. Dodgers. Sunday Night Baseball. Tomorrow on ESPN. Telecast presented by Taco Bell.
It's a fact. Mediacom outperformed DSL in FCC Internet speed tests. Faster uploads, faster downloads, more speed for all your devices. Mediacom over-delivered on advertised speeds 130%, delivering superior streaming, gaming, and everything else, while DSL underperformed. Faster speeds, faster than advertised. Mediacom Internet.
Healthcare should be about people, not profits. At Spectrum, we understand the importance of affordable and reliable care. With low-cost health services for individuals and small businesses alike, we're committed to ethical, compassionate care that focuses on you. From drug testing to full-service clinical care, we want to make sure you or your employees get the care they need at a cost they can manage. The first step to a better life is better health at Spectrum Healthcare.
Some great finishes throughout the day here at the 2019 SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships. We are running out of events here in this championship meet. We've got a few field events to cover and one more individual race. Dwight and Jill handle those.
We're not running out of field events. The women's pole vault again. The twins, Lexi Jacobus and Tori Hogard. It was their show again. Look at this. Lexi Jacobus, three-time NCAA champion, four-time SEC champion, an Olympian, her sister indoor champion as well. And this was Lexi's third attempt at 15-1. Boom! And you see how excited she is. And then it was Tori's turn. Listen, great height all the way around on that. Again, it's not just the hip height that's going to clear. You got to look at the lowest body part that clears that bar. And then Lexi, her third attempt at 15-1 as well. Pow! Weasels over the bar. She was second at this meet last year. Again, just a little brush with her chest. And then Lexi. First attempt, 15-4 and a quarter. How about that? Personal best, meet record. The Olympian comes back from placing third at this meet last year. And she is your SEC 2019 indoor champion. Look at the little sister love there. Lexi Jacobus first, Tori Weeks second, Kristen Denk third, and John is with Lexi.
All right, thank you, Jill. And you know what? She's still smiling after that. You come through, we said 30 years ago, first, and now we've got records to go with it. Just first, front to back, tell us about the competition.
Well, I'm gonna be honest, it didn't really start off too well. I made a lot of bars on my third attempt, and I actually made 15-1 right after Tori made it on my third. And so Tori was kind of ahead of me the whole competition, and as soon as she cleared that 15-1 on her third, I knew I had to go get it too. And so that kind of just led into the rest of the competition, and my vaulting kind of changed, and jumping at that new SEC record, I just felt like kind of a new vaulter, and so I finished the competition really well.
Yeah, you did twice the work about everybody else, right? And then you come down, but that one, first attempt clearance, What's it like when you keep trying to attack this height, and you know that's sort of your barrier, and to finally crack that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I've been aiming at it for so long, and Olivia Groover set that record last year, and so to come out here, and then, of course, like I said, just have Tori pushing me, really, like, we have such a unique bond, and so to have her right there pushing me and encouraging me at the back of the runway, I just knew I had to go get it, and I knew that with the crowd there, a home crowd that has been phenomenal throughout this whole meet, I knew it was coming.
And any inspiration? Because we had a guy who set the collegiate record, go 19.5 the other night.
Oh, man, Mondo's amazing, and of course he set the collegiate record last night. I came in hoping to break that today and do what he did yesterday, but today's not my day. I've got one more chance in 2 weeks, and so hopefully I can do it then.
We will see you in Birmingham.
Yes, we will.
18 more points for the Hogs in the pole vault. Jill, Dwight, let's race 3,000 meters.
All right, John, section 2 of the men's 3,000 meters on the track. Let's take a look at the standings. There's this race and the 4x4s. That's it. Florida with a 33-point bulge over LSU, but it's tight for second, third, and fourth. But Florida just running away with it. They're pretty much doing everything right. Here are the records for the men's 3,000. Alistair Craig from Arkansas. 15 years ago it's been now for that collegiate record. Cameron Griffith, who is in this race, has the meet record from last year, and Grant Fisher of Stanford with the best mark in the country this year from Stanford. And there is the Arkansas junior, Cameron Griffith. He had a tiny setback in his training leading up to these championships.
It was like 3 days worth of pretty bad Achilles pain, and then usually that kind of stuff lingers for a long time, but it just went away, like I said, in like 3 days. And so I was a little cautious for about a week and a half, and that's why my training was a little bit set back. But I mean, now haven't had any issues since, and been training well.
Meet record holder in this event, also the defending champion, ran the mile, the distance medley relay. He's been a workhorse for Arkansas. So has Gilbert Boyd. He won the 5,000 last night. He's got hip 7. So watch for these Arkansas men to try to take the Alabama men out of their game.
Well, that was an exciting 5,000 meter finish, and 300ths of a second separating first from second when Gilbert Boyd beat both of the Alabama runners. And Alabama at the time was thinking, we got to do everything perfect and we can defend our team title. Nobody saw the juggernaut that was the Florida Gators, putting 14 finalists on the track here in day 2.
Noel Rotich from Alabama taking this out. I'm wondering if that's a rabbit because of how fast he just went out, and he's 20 meters ahead, or 10 meters ahead of everybody right now. And I talked with Dan Waters, the head coach at Alabama, and he said that both Gilbert Keegan and Vincent Kiprop, wearing hips 3 and 9 respectively, were going to take this out. They wanted to try to come out and run 62-second quarters for this first mile.
Well, they got just about 62 for that first quarter, but nobody's gone with them so far. Noel Rotich finishing 12th in that 5,000 on night number 1, was up with the leaders for much of the race, but just could not hang on the last few laps.
Gilbert Keegan sitting in second. From Alabama, he was the one that was second by an eyelash last night in that men's 5,000.
"16 finalists. Three of them from Alabama. Rotich, the freshman, continuing to lead, but nobody willing to catch up with him.
And I can't help to think that that's not some sort of a rabbit situation, pulling his teammates through. That's awful quick to take that out.
He's running about 63.5, 400 meters.
Yeah,
but his guys are not going with him.
They're not. I mean, he might not be a rabbit, because that 62-second 400 meter was what Dan Waters wanted his Alabama men to do.
Well, it looks like they changed their mind.
right now running 7:58 pace. They were 2:39 through the 1,000 meter mark.
I mean, they got kind of an Alabama wall in second and third with Rotich, the freshman, out there. Nobody seems to want to try and go after him, including his own teammates.
Rotich remains your leader, followed by Keegan, Kiprop, and Boyd.
So nothing much has changed here with about 8.5 laps to go. So let's go down to John.
All right, Roll Tide out in front. A lot of Alabama, a lot of Arkansas, a lot of points to be had. I'm not sure there's enough out there, though, for any of those teams to catch Mike Holloway's Florida Gators. It's a coronation for them when we finally come around to the 4x4. More of this 3,000 race when we return to Fayetteville.
Wow, we did it. We built the fastest network for the latest iPhone.
And the iPhone XR with a Retina display that makes everything look incredible.
It's like the perfect couple. You know, the ones who look great in every picture.
Like the ones who always make me feel like a before photo. Zoe and Chris.
Hey, guys. Hey, Zoe and Chris. How fun is that?
Yeah. AT&T has the fastest network for the latest iPhone. Get the mind-blowing iPhone XR on us when you buy the latest iPhone. AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing.
Your devices are terrible with secrets.
Ah, that's it?
His social media says he's training for a marathon.
A binge-watching marathon?
Nah, first run in weeks. I have trust issues.
He spent $200 on sneakers. Hey, laptop's back.
Guys, I was in a cafe with Wi-Fi. Some people use their names as passwords.
What? Stop the blah blah. Use NordVPN. Keep your online data secure and private. Download now.
I used to spend my mornings like this, but now I have the ESPN Daily. It tells you everything you need to know and much more. One email every morning to get you caught up. Sign up now at espn.com/daily.
Here's where summer begins.
Welcome, everyone, to Omaha, Nebraska, home of the College World Series. We look forward to seeing how this last chapter gets written.
Where the fans come out to party. And the nation's top collegiate baseball teams come to win it all.
The stakes have never been higher.
The College World Series presented by Capital One continues tomorrow at 2 on ESPN.
We are mid-race in the men's 3,000 meters, the second heat, the fast heat that's coming through here. We'll go to Jill and Dwight to take us home.
Well, the gap between the leader, freshman Noel Rotich of Alabama, and his teammates, I should say, Gilbert Keegan and Vincent Kiprop, is starting to narrow a bit. The freshman has been doing all the work out there all by himself. We have 7 laps remaining in this 15-lap race. 4:20 at the 1,600-meter mark.
And that's well behind the 4:12 that Alabama, Dan Waters wanted his Alabama men to be at. But what's even more interesting is if you've been watching Zach Long, he's from Tennessee wearing hip 1. He has been literally almost in lane 2 trying to pass. And again, this is the race where if you're going to make a move, you've got to make sure that you make it on the straights and you're not running further than you need to. Pack coming back to the leader.
Well, he's a big fella and he needs some room, as well as you got to make room for his back kick. So he's been running on the outside of lane 1, which means he's running a couple of meters further every lap when he does that on the turns.
And that's just, it's just, we'll see if he's got a little bit of that extra oomph when he needs it from taking all of that extra distance.
Freshman Noel Rotich walks off the track, very rabbit-like, as we see in the European meets. So he is done. And now we have ourselves a race.
Vincent Kiprop from Alabama, 3rd in the 5,000 last night. He was the NCAA indoor runner-up at 5,000. He was the outdoor runner-up at 10K, so has that huge range to go from 3 to 5 to 10. It means you got speed, it means you got strength, it means you got stamina.
Gilbert Boyd, the winner of the 5,000, right up there in 4th position, just letting it all play out.
And this is where with the final 800, this is where that boxing in, trying to make your move. You don't want to run too far in on the rail and have somebody on your right outside shoulder so that you can't make a move, as Zach Long just did on the backstretch. And we'll see if the Alabama's men have an answer.
Cameron Wright, or Cameron Griffith, I should say, has also moved himself up into position. He's in 6th, well within striking distance of any move that's made, as Zach Long, Tennessee, finally takes the lead with 3 laps remaining.
Cameron Griffith is a great stalker. You've seen him do it so many times in his races. He just sits back, lets everybody else do the work, and then when the move needs to get made, he does it. And as well, he knows this track inside and out. He knows where to do it.
Mario Garcia-Romo, the freshman from Ole Miss. I believe that's who it is. It might be Derek Gutierrez. I have to take a look at the hip. That is Gutierrez. And now they're starting to wind it up. 2 laps remaining, 400 meters to go. Zach Long. There's Gilbert Keegan and Gilbert Boyd right there. And Cameron Wright staying out of trouble on the outside of lane 1.
That last 200, 31.9, so they are picking it up. 64 pace for the 400.
Vincent Kiprop is a little off the pace. It's going to be up to Keegan of Alabama to try and snatch a victory for the Crimson Tide. At the bell, Keegan trying to get back past Zach Long, but Zach Long's a big guy for a distance runner.
He is, and I don't know if he's going to be able to keep that speed, but watch Cameron Griffith on this backstretch.
And Gilbert Boyd both. Gilbert Keegan into the lead. Here comes the defending champion, Cameron Griffith. We saw him do it in the mile. He wasn't able to make it happen. He couldn't seal the deal. Wow. But he does it here and defends successfully.
Wow.
Griffith, Keegan, Long, and Boyd. Those are your top 4.
How smart was that race for Cameron Griffith? That last lap, 26.4 for the 200 meters on that last lap. Mercy. Cameron Griffith sat in 5th and 6th place with about 400 meters to go and then moved himself up into 4th. And then on this backstretch, that's where you want to pass. You got to use a little bit of that acceleration off the curve. And on the right of your screen, here comes Cameron Griffith. Watch him accelerate through this curve, use the bottom of the curve, the knee lift. He has done it all for Arkansas in the last 2 days. Look at the strength he has. Doesn't break his form. Great knee lift. Shoulders are down, not wavering side to side, but forward and up and down. Great win for Cameron Griffith.
And for the 2nd day in a row, Gilbert Keegan is caught with about 20 meters remaining in the race. Cameron Griffith defends successfully for Arkansas. Gilbert Keegan leaves Fayetteville with 2 second-place finishes. Zach Long hangs on for 3rd, and Gilbert Boyd gets 5 more points for Arkansas, and the champion is downstairs with John.
I am with the champion, and I don't know if you could feel it, but coming around the last lap, I felt like everybody in here wanted you to win.
That makes more of us then, because I wanted to win so badly as well. I was a little disappointed with the mile. I mean, to get 2nd by such a close margin, it's a little bit disappointing, but I mean, Ole Miss has got some great athletes, and the fact that I was able to get 2nd, I was happy with. 3K was the 4th race of this weekend, so I'm going to sleep well tonight. But, I mean, there's great competition in the SEC right now, and to win the 3K with the kind of caliber athletes that are here at the moment is really special.
All right, what goes through your mind when you're coming around the last 2 curves? Because that guy's out there, and you got to go get him.
Yeah, I was still with the pack, and I was expecting to be hurting a lot more than I was. It wasn't super fast, but it was still an honest pace, and I knew I had a decent kick, so if I was with him with 150 to go, I could maybe get him, but I was just happy to get the win today.
Can we see the flex again before we go? There it is. Woo Big Suey, winner in the 3,000 from Arkansas, Cameron Griffith. We're going up back to the booth. More field event coverage.
In the women's weight throw, the senior from Tennessee, Stamacia Scarvelis, has a meet record and a personal best 78.11 and a quarter, followed by Maddie Malone of Auburn, 72.6 and a half, and Jordan McClendon, Missouri, 69 feet 1/2. Scarless ups her 3rd place from last year. And in the women's triple jump, Yanis David from Florida, racking up another 10 for the Gators, 45.5. Marie Jose Ibiu Excel from Kentucky, 44.8 3/4, and Natricia Hooper from Florida, 44.4 3/4.
All right, by way of review, we want to look at Grant Holloway one more time before we go. This was him in the 60 meters. First year he's been competing in that, and he blows through and wins this one in 6.54 for his first championship, conference championship in that event. And then, of course, his specialty. Really got pushed here and dragged the folks from Kentucky along with him. 7.44, his third SEC championship in the 60 hurdles. Grant Holloway, special. Coming up next, the showstopper that is the women's 4x400 meter relay. Arkansas looking to cap off its crown in the signature SEC event. A&M, LSU, South Carolina, equally fast. Stay with
I used to spend my mornings like this. Endlessly scrolling and searching for all the latest sports news. It was not great. But now I have the ESPN Daily. It tells you everything you need to know, what to watch, and much more. One email every morning to get you caught up. Sign up now at espn.com/daily.
The moment is fleeting. A brush with greatness. Genius at its peak. Catch it while you can. The best in baseball. One night a week. One place to watch. Cubs. Dodgers. Sunday Night Baseball. Tomorrow on ESPN. Telecast presented by Taco Bell.
Are you outgoing? Do you have great people skills? Do you work hard and wish to get paid well? Mediacom is looking for professional direct salespeople to sell our high-tech services in your area. We offer the potential to earn up to $60,000 in annual compensation, along with a generous benefit package and paid training. If you have a desire to succeed, we'd sure like to meet you. To apply, visit MediacomCable.com/careers.
Healthcare should be about people, not profits. At Spectrum, we understand the importance of affordable and reliable care. With low-cost health services for individuals and small businesses alike, we're committed to ethical, compassionate care that focuses on you. From drug testing to full-service clinical care, we want to make sure you or your employees get the care they need at a cost they can manage. The first step to a better life is better health at Spectrum Healthcare.
Here on the campus of the University of Arkansas for the SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships. In the background there you see Old Main. It's the oldest building on campus. They don't run track and field there. They do that here at the Tyson Track Center. Getting ready for the women's 4x400 meter relay. It is the final event of the competition. Jill and Dwight almost done for the day. They saved the best for last in this conference.
All right, John, first of 3 sections of the 4x400 relay, because there's just not enough lanes on the track. Look at Arkansas. My goodness, an 80-point advantage on the women's side. We knew they were strong and they were going to win, but this is insane. Good battle for second, third, and fourth, though. All right, so section 1 is going to feature, after we look at the records, collegiate record held by the Trojans of USC 2 years ago, meet record by the Tigers of LSU from a long time ago, 14 years ago, and A&M with the best time in the country, the only time under 3:30. But that's going to change over the next couple of weeks as we get ready for the NCAA championships in a couple of weeks. Ole Miss in 3, Tennessee in 5, Mississippi State in 6. And like the 400 meters open, they will stay in their lanes through the first 2 turns and then break for the pole. Tennessee, who's out in lane 5, finished second in this race last year. The winner can come from any of these sections, but they are seated on time, and these are some of the slower teams in the conference this year.
Tennessee had a seed time of, it says 3:31. It seems pretty quick. And to be in the first heat, but they were second in this meet. Last year they were 12th at the NCAA indoor meet in the 4x4 last year.
But this year they've come in with just 3:35, so they obviously graduated some people. This is Layla White, the Tennessee senior, and she will be handing off to her teammate, Lenise Dyer. Mississippi State will hand off second, and then Ole Miss.
We've seen Lenise Dyer in so many sprint races over the years, an absolute veteran for Tennessee. And look at her stride length, very relaxed. Knees are in front of her. The one thing that we've talked about a lot, because front-end sprinting mechanics has now become such a huge thing as part of training. And you want to make sure that swing knee, which is the knee you're going to drive up in front, that your ankle is behind it, so that you're not leading with your foot that ends up turning your hips backwards and can have you lean back. She has got such pretty sprint form.
That's exactly what I tell my high jumpers. Is you've got to do your running out in front of you, because eventually you're going to be leaning back as your last couple steps to the bar. If you're already running with your shoulders and your hips too far forward, you're never going to be able to lay out over the bar. So here they come with the second exchange to Charlotte, or I should say Martina Weil, the freshman for Tennessee, and they've got easily a 30-meter lead over Ole Miss and Mississippi State. They're running like they want to score some points.
It is, and you know what? I'll guarantee you that all of these coaches have said, listen, you're going to do this for points, because it always comes down at some point or another. Not this meet, obviously, because of Florida and Arkansas being so far out in front. But when it comes down to that 4x4, you have got to know how to take this out. I don't care if there's one person in the race or if there's 5 teams in the race. You've got to run the 4x4. Points, points, points.
Yep. That's what it's about at this level. So the stick will go to the anchor, Brooklyn Broadwater, the junior. For Ole Miss, this is going to be Maddie McHugh, the senior. And for Mississippi State, Shayla Felder, the freshman.
That last leg for Tennessee, 53-16 on the split.
Yeah, Tennessee is running like they want to set a season best and run fast enough to score.
Tennessee's head coach, Beth Alford Sullivan, told me we're rebuilding around our relays, our sprints, and our jumps, and it's very prevalent in their relays. She's done a fantastic job so far. She hired Travis Gephardt away from Arkansas, and he has brought in some amazing athletes.
3:35 flat, so a little bit of an improvement on their season best of 3:35.73. We'll just have to wait to see if that's going to hold up to be a scoring time. That becomes the time to beat.
And as we saw with Tennessee, they were second in this meet last year, but a lot of these teams running in these other heats in this next heat, LSU, they won this event last year, and they're in the second section. So you can tell there's been some personnel change going on, lost to graduation and athletes going pro.
So Tennessee wins section 1 with an improvement on their season best of 3:35 flat, followed by Ole Miss and Mississippi State, who also both improved on their season bests.
And that's what this is really about, is the progression. The periodization, when we talk about, when you hear periodization in track and field, when we talk about it on television, it's the two periodization, an indoor where you have a crescendo up until the conference championship and in the NCAA indoor championship. Then you have to come back and rewire to do the same thing and double periodize your training entire season over 2 different periods, and make sure that you're running your fastest when you need to indoor and come back and run your fastest when you need to outdoor.
And in a year like this year, with the World Championships so late in the season, the U.S. Nationals are now being pushed a full month later. They're in late July. There's actually a third periodization for some of these veteran college athletes that they can come and make that U.S. team.
And you made a great point the other night when you said that actually will benefit the collegiate athletes finally this year, because in the past they have had to go NCAA outdoor a week later, U.S. championships if they're from the United States, and then the major of whatever it was a month or 3 weeks after that. So a lot of these college athletes that you see in SEC, ACC, and in the Power 5 conferences are not only running for America, but they're running for their respective countries as well, as you've heard a lot of us talk about the foreign athletes that are competing for these universities.
Okay, so from left to right, LSU in 3, the defending champions. Georgia in 4, Alabama in 5, Kentucky in 6.
Georgia finally has a 4x4.
This is Rachel Misher on the leadoff for LSU. Micaiah Ransby for Georgia. Takira Roberson for Alabama. And Faith Ross for Kentucky. She was 5th in the 60-meter hurdles earlier in the meet.
Rachel Misher, veteran runner for Dennis Shaver and the LSU Tigers, was part of that 4x1 championship team.
And Georgia gets the pole.
Georgia finally having I don't even know what to call here. I'm so shocked that they finally have to have a 4x4. Shout out to Petros for finally having a 4x4. The last 2 NCAA outdoor championships, had Georgia had a 4x4 and just placed, they would have won the national title.
Faith Ross of UK, their hurdler, getting them in position to hand off first, but now Alabama coming with a late charge. And this could be a fight for the pole, and Alabama gets it.
Man, and this race is just so fun. There's an extra gear you find when you're running a 4x4.
Katie Function, the junior from Alabama, being chased by Chloe Abbott of Kentucky. And for LSU, that is Milan Young. And Georgia dropped all the way back to 4th. That's Sterling Lester. Chloe Abbott puts the Wildcats in front.
Chloe Abbott, you know who she reminds me of? Look at her running style. Who does she remind you of? Allison Felix.
Oh, right, absolutely.
She has got you know, Allison Felix, and we all adore her, and congratulations on her new baby that she just had. But she was called Bird Legs growing up because she was so skinny. But Chloe has that same running style.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
That's Allison Felix style.
And she will hand off to Masai Russell, their freshman, with a nice little lead here. Got about a 20-meter, 25-meter lead. LSU in 2nd with Britley Humphrey. 51-26 for Chloe Abbott.
That was huge. And here's the thing, Kentucky at last year's outdoor meet had a ridiculous 4x4, even when it came down when we were calling Purdue and USC.
Correct.
Kentucky was right in there.
Georgia now into 2nd place with Amber Tanner.
Amber Tanner has that 800-meter strength.
Alabama and Kentucky with the best times on paper coming in here. 3:32.04 for the Tide, 3:32.15 for Kentucky. Kentucky will hand off first. Abby Steiner, the freshman, who ran a great open 400 earlier today.
And Lena Irby on the anchor for Georgia. Let's see what she has left in the tank.
For LSU, that is Kaya Oviosen, freshman.
Lena Irby closing. Look at this.
Irby and Georgia taking the lead with 1 lap remaining.
This is the part of the race that Lena Irby told me that she was working on in her front side mechanics. She wanted to make sure she was lifting in front of herself and not spinning behind. That's what her and Petros have been working on in the weight room, and holy moly, that stride. She's improved it.
Yeah. So Lena Irby bringing Georgia home first in the 2nd section, and a season best for the Bulldogs of 3:31.97.
51-1 on the split for Lena Irby. First exchange in this race. Everybody's coming in hot. This is such fun part of the 4x4, but getting a position and making sure that you don't trip on other people. Kentucky tucked right behind Alabama. Second exchange, LSU got it. And then in the final exchange, Kentucky was first. However, the pass from from Georgia, running very smart. Lena Irby did, passing on that backstretch. And then just holding it, and just the smooth running. I mean, she's incredible. We saw her run the fastest 400 in college earlier, staying really relaxed and just continuing to work on her craft. That's the thing that she said. She's like, it's such a long season this year, because she's one of those athletes that's vying for the world championship team. And so you cannot train and peak and have all your stuff coming out now and not have it later.
Georgia goes under 3:32, season best, and establishes the time to beat for the Section 1 teams. Kentucky doesn't set a season best, but finishes second, and then LSU and Alabama. All right, Section 3, the hot, fast section of the women's 4x400 on the track. It is Florida in 3, Arkansas in 4, Texas A&M in 5, and South Carolina in 6. For A&M, that is Julia Matabiki, the sophomore, who will lead off. In lane 4 for Arkansas, Kiara Parker, who was 4th in the 60 meters earlier. The time to beat established by Georgia in the Section 2 race, 3:31.97. A&M the favorite, the only team in the conference under 3:30 with 3:29.96. For Florida, it's Taylor Manson, the sophomore hand, leading off. And for South Carolina, Stephanie Davis.
Kiara Parker for Arkansas, running in the 60 and the 200 earlier, and now leading off their 4x4. Unofficially 24 seconds flat for that first 200.
Kiara Parker is 7th in the 200, 4th in the 60, and here comes Stephanie Davis of South Carolina to go around her. Gamecocks will hand off first, followed closely by A&M.
.52.15 for South Carolina on that first 400 split.
For South Carolina, it's the junior Aaliyah Abrams. For A&M, it's Tiara Robinson-Jones, who was 4th in the 400. Then for Arkansas, Morgan Brooks-McGee, who was 6th in the 400, and Nikki Stevens, sophomore from Florida. And that gap is still there from South Carolina back to Texas A&M. Nikki Stevens making a big move for Arkansas to try to get them back up in it.
Woo, and this third leg is going to be interesting. Sharika Barnett from Florida, Peyton Chadwick from Arkansas, and Javion Reed from A&M. Watch this.
Tatiana Mills, the South Carolina senior. Javen Reed for A&M. And Peyton Chadwick.
Look at Sharika Barnett eat up that backstretch.
Now we're starting to tighten up a little bit. That gap has really narrowed.
Sharika Barnett, such a technician, passing on the straight instead of the curve, but Javion Reed from A&M not letting her.
Every one of these teams is in it now. Remember, 3:31.97, the time to beat is A&M. Slingshots into the lead. Their anchor will be Ciara Richardson, who was 2nd in the 400. For Florida, Denisha Anderson, just a freshman. For South Carolina, Wadaline Janathis, the junior. And for Arkansas, Kathleen Campbell, who was 5th in the 400.
Wow.
It is anybody's race right here.
When's the last time we saw this indoor?
A&M was 4th last year, but comes in with the fastest time in the country, or in the conference, I should say. And Richardson getting some separation now. Can she hang on? She was 2nd in the 400, finished strong, and she's going to bring it home for A&M. A&M wins it, followed by South Carolina, Florida, and Arkansas. 3:29.15 for A&M, season best.
That's a collegiate lead.
South Carolina also breaks 3:30 at 3:29.56, and Florida 1/100th of a second back. All 4 teams, all of them breaking 3:30.
And 3:29.15 officially for Texas A&M. Look at this first exchange. South Carolina getting the stick first, followed by Texas A&M. Section exchange, Carolina got a great lead, about a 10-meter lead, and then Javion Reed from Texas A&M brought it in. And that last lap was so impressive.
So A&M wins it at 3:29.15. The top 4 teams all under 3:30, all from the final section. The top 4 times in the NCAA, 2 weeks from the championship. That's a world's best, is 3:29.15. Crazy 4x400 relay running.
Coming up, get your goosebumps ready. The final event of the meet could be world record fast. 4 guys, 400 meters, the best of the SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships.
In 1885, Dr. Thaddeus Pepper combined 23 flavors to create Dr. Pepper. He was then sucked into a flavor portal. Now he travels through time, treating friends to ice-cold Dr. Pepper. These are the adventures of Dr. Pepper.
Man, I wish we had some.
Dr. Pepper! And rich, delicious Dr. Pepper.
Cool robot.
Thanks, but actually he's a cooler from the future.
Wow.
Don't touch. He's very cold.
Dr. Pepper, so nice to treat you.
Your devices keep tons of data about you. Where you live and what you like. What your loved ones like. And the little surprise you've been planning. How you look, and even who your friends are. When online, your devices share this data with each other. Are you sharing it with random strangers on public Wi-Fi as well? You never know. Connect to NordVPN and keep your online data secure and private. Download now.
The moment is fleeting. A brush with greatness. Genius at its peak. Catch it while you can. The best in baseball. One night a week. One place to watch. Cubs, Dodgers, Sunday Night Baseball. Tomorrow on ESPN. Telecast presented by Taco Bell.
I used to spend my mornings like this. But now I have the ESPN Daily. It tells you everything you need to know and much more. One email every morning to get you caught up. Sign up now at espn.com/daily.
We are back here one more time. The SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships, Randall Tyson Track Center, Fayetteville, Arkansas. The meet has been decided, but the competition isn't over. We still have the men's 4x400 meter relay. And if you're Florida, happiness is being up by 21 points going to the last event, which means you can take your 4x4 relay team and give the guys the night off. The Gators have scratched, but we still got plenty of fast 4x4 teams to watch. Jill and Dwight with the call.
All right, John, section 2 of 3 of the 4x400, featuring Georgia in 3, Kentucky in 4, Mississippi State in 5, and Alabama in 6. Hey, Georgia has a 4x4.
And the men's team as well. I love the fact that Georgia is now on the track and not just in the field. But again, I mean, you know, Petros Kyprianou signed a great signing class just this last month. They've got some fantastic sprinters coming in, and he's rounding out that incredible field group that he has.
For Alabama in the lead, this is senior Skyler Bowden. For Mississippi State, that is Okeen Moore. For Kentucky, Cameron Council. And for Georgia, the freshman Siegfried Zoller. So Alabama will pass first to Elise Ford. Mississippi State, Terrion Conwell. Kentucky, Dwight St. Hilaire. And for Georgia, Jonathan Rains.
47-37 unofficial on that first split for Bama.
Pretty even amount of distance between each of these teams. I'd say each is about 12 meters apart.
Did you ever have to run on the 4x4?
I did. In college, I ran a few 4x4s. It was fun. I trained like a quarter miler, so I might as well run.
I hid in the bathroom.
most guys that didn't want to did.
The best thing is now because of social media, there's so many GIFs and memes out there when coaches are looking for 4x4 runners. If you haven't done so at home, folks, go Google memes for people that are running the 4x4. You'll have a fantastic day of laughter.
Yeah, it is fun. It's funny. All right, for Alabama, this is Katavius Walter, who was third in the 60-meter dash. For Mississippi State, that is Marco Urup, the second placer in the 800. And for Kentucky, Daniel Roberts, who ran a heck of a second place in the 60 hurdles, the number 4 collegiate time in history.
Man.
And he was fourth in the 60-meter dash. He's had a long day.
And here's the thing, Alabama was 7th at this meet last year. Arkansas was 3rd, and Mississippi State was 6th. So, I mean, you've got some of your mid to top placers in this second section.
Not to ignore Georgia, who's well back. It's Clay Pender, the freshman, on the third leg.
Hey, points.
Absolutely. All right, Alabama remains in the lead as they've been from the beginning. This is champion Allison, the 4th placer in the 400 in the lead for the Tide. Mississippi State letting Cameron Crump, a freshman, with fresh legs. And for Kentucky, this is Jacob Smith. Elijah Goodwin, the freshman, will be anchoring for Georgia. And there is no longer a gap between first and second. Mississippi State, a different leader for the first time in the race.
And by the way, Urup split on that, 46-83.
Yeah, he is a beast.
Man.
Alabama coming back now. Cam Allison, I told you, 4th and 400. And Cameron Crump had no answer. 3:08.68. 3:08.70 it's corrected to, so that is the time to beat established by Alabama.
And that's better than the seed time that Alabama brought in here of 3:11 as we take a peek at the first exchange of this second section of the 4x4. Alabama running really even, really nice. Nice little pass, no bobbles. And it's amazing to me sometimes of the bobbles you see in the 4x4. All of those exchanges clean. Second exchange, a little bit tightened up. Bama getting the stick earlier than Mississippi State. And then on the final exchange, the gap closed between Alabama and Mississippi State. But Alabama passing on the backstretch, using that curve, accelerating off the curve exactly how he did in the 400 and just finishing strong to get a season best, 3:08 for Alabama.
So Alabama at 3:08.70 had pretty much mid-47s for the first 3 carries, and then champion Allison bringing it home in 46.59. Urup, the 800-meter runner, 46.83 for Mississippi State, which helped them get into second place. Kentucky 3rd, Georgia back in 4th. All right, section 3 of the men's 4x400, final race of the night, and these are the teams with the highest seeds, including Texas A&M, who's run 3:01.56 this year.
Well, and their women just set the collegiate lead. There's something in the water. Texas A&M always stellar in the 4x4s.
And even though they graduated Malik Curley and Robert Grant, they still are sub 302. Arkansas is also in this section. That is Trevian Caldwell, who will lead off for the Razorbacks. So it's Arkansas in 3, LSU in 4, Texas A&M in 5, and then South Carolina on the outside in 6.
And just like last night when we were doing the distance medley relays, this place, the energy inside here has now picked up. All of the athletes are now lined around the rails of the track to cheer on everybody that runs these 4x4s. It's so fun.
Remember, Florida scratched from this race. They've run 3:03 and change this year. It would have made it a very nice race between them and Texas A&M, which it pretty much always is.
Oh!
Well, you sure would hate to see a team thrown out, but there is no mercy. If somebody left early, they're gone.
And the line judge marching right up into, looks like South Carolina, and there's a red card.
And that is Arin's Chance of South Carolina. Let's just see if we can
top of your screen in the black. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he jumped. But here's the thing, you know, I think he was also saying, I heard something, which we've seen twice already. Hunter Woodhull yesterday was in that same exact lane, and someone had blown a whistle up on that corner of the stands.
Well, the starter, they're talking about it.
Wow.
And they said, nope, we're not buying the argument. So South Carolina is out. They've run 3:05.68 this year.
That was the second fastest team in this race besides Texas A&M.
So that is a time that I'm pretty confident it qualified for the NCAA championship, so we expect to see them in Birmingham in a couple of weeks.
And that's tough because when you're running on these big stages, and like I said, I did the Grenada meet last year, and all those woo-zoo, all that, it was a party in there, and you have got to block out every single piece of noise and wait for that gun.
The Vuvuzela.
Is that what it's called?
The most annoying noise in the world.
There was 700 of them in a Grenada arena last year, outdoor.
So from the inside, that leaves us Arkansas, LSU, and Texas A&M. A&M with a time almost 5 full seconds better than second place LSU now that South Carolina is gone.
But bet that Dennis Shaver told his 400-meter men that are running this race, go out and let's see what we can do. He got a couple of them at the mid-mark break of school in January, and they're just kind of finding their legs in this race. 21.5 unofficial for that first 200.
Bryce Dedman for A&M is third in the 400. And he's a reliable relay runner for the Aggies. And this is Tyler Terry, who was thrown out of the 400 because of a lane violation. Had a little trouble there getting connected up with Dedman. Good pass for LSU. That is Dylan Peebles, who was 5th in the 200. And for A&M, that's Kyrie Johnson, the sophomore. For Arkansas, it's supposed to be Hunter Woodhull, but it's clearly not Hunter Woodhull.
.46.14 for LSU on that first quarter, and 46.24 for A&M.
That is Roy Ijakwu. They switched with Hunter Woodhull. He'll be third. Yes, I can see he's lined up to take the stick on the second exchange. Dylan Peebles starting to falter. Here comes Kyrie Johnson. A&M is going to hand off first to Ilolo Izu. And for LSU, Corian Mosby. And it is Hunter Woodhull, who is 7th in the 400 for the Razorbacks.
46 flat on that last quarter for A&M.
For Kyrie Johnson, their sophomore.
Mosby for LSU trying to make a move on A&M.
Izu just not letting it happen.
Hunter Woodhull making up some ground on that backstretch.
Here comes Mosby again after Izu, and Woodhull has run the Razorbacks right into this race. A&M hands off first. Guess who? Devin Dixon, who won the 800 earlier. And it's Jaron Flournoy, who was second in the 200. And for Arkansas, John Wynn.
Unofficial split for Hunter Woodhall to get Arkansas back in at 45-38. Look at the stride of Devin Dixon.
It's just crazy.
My goodness. Woo!
Florida feeling that 200 about now.
Yeah, but he's got that little, he's just kind of got that little extra gear. He's trying to get it right now, but it's Devin Dixon in that long stride.
So for A&M, that 3:03.61, that's a pedestrian time for them. Of course, they didn't need to run any harder than that. They would have been helped by South Carolina staying in. 44.60, making it look like nothing for Devin Dixon.
Woo!
All three schools that's faster than the fastest time from Section 2, so they'll finish in that order, first, second, and third.
On the first exchange, Tyler Terry, I don't know what happened there. He must have just came off that corner wrong, but it just kind of threw his technique off, but LSU still able to pass the stick first, just ahead of A&M. And then on the second exchange, A&M had made up some ground. They get the stick off first. Hunter Woodhall ran a great leg and got Arkansas back in. Look at him going way wide, almost even on the third exchange with the batons. Devin Dixon in that just smooth, strong 800-meter strength.
Yeah, he drops a 44.60 anchor and brings A&M home in 3:03.61. LSU second, Arkansas third. Alabama gets fourth from Section 2. What a great 4x4. Especially when you consider no Florida.
Right.
All right, John, that's all the running there is to do.
All right, and then we got one last thing before we go, because somebody is taking home a trophy. The team champions crown. We got some T-shirts to hand out, a lot of school spirit, all that good stuff when we return to the SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships here in Fayetteville.
Are you guys tasting this?
This tastes like gas.
This dude is cooking food that tastes like gas. Perfect. If you want food that doesn't taste like gas, try it on a Traeger. Perfect wood fire flavor every time. Traeger, taste the wood fire difference.
Why settle for ordinary when you can have extraordinary? At Touch of Modern, watches don't just tell time, they change the way you spend it. Bags are thoughtfully designed to never slow you down, and gear won't get in the way. And coffee tables are also refrigerators, keeping you at the center of the party. All it takes is a touch. touchofmodern.com.
We are back in Fayetteville. Time to wrap things up. The women's final results: Arkansas by 81 points over Texas A&M. Alabama third, Florida fourth. And with the trophy presentation, let's go downstairs to our John Anderson.
All right, thank you, Dwight. Wow, what a performance by the hometown Arkansas Razorbacks. And here to present a fifth straight SEC Indoor Championship trophy is the Director of Championships for the SEC, Mr. John Gibson.
Coach Harder, congratulations to you and your team for winning the 2019 SEC Indoor Track and Field Championship.
Thank you so much.
So Lance has deferred, and you've decided to let other people do the heavy lifting. And then for 2 days, the girls back here, the women back here did all the heavy lifting. Listen, it's one thing to be favored to win. It's another thing to execute and win. Describe what your squad did over the last 2 days.
Well, we exceeded all expectations. I think our kids just rose to a new level. You know, everyone has a tendency to kind of dope out a meet and try to figure out, you know, what the scores could potentially be. They even exceeded our expectations by far. And it came from all factions.
Championships are like kids. You can't pick a favorite, but what makes this one unique?
Well, I think we have great team leadership. We have talent, obviously, and we have an incredible work ethic. And I think between Brian Compton and Chris Johnson and myself, you know, we demand a lot, and they rise to handle that demand.
All right, and now, do you know the hog cheer? We're ready for that?
We've heard that. We've been.
I'm gonna let your ladies take it away.
Here are the final results on the men's side. Just a runaway for Florida, not something that we expected. 15-point victory, 28 of those points from Grant Holloway, first in the 60, first in the 60 hurdles, and second in the long jump. And for the trophy presentation, let's go downstairs to John Anderson.
All right, thank you, Dwight. It really was a phenomenal performance by the Florida Gators. John Gibson, Director of Championships for the conference, is here to give another trophy to Mike Holloway.
Coach Holloway, congratulations to you and your team for winning the 2019 SEC Indoor Men's Track and Field Championship.
I don't know if you want to pick it up or you want to let one of your guys, but there you go. There you go. Give that to A.J. McFarland. He's a big dude. He had a clutch throw to get you 10 points in the weight throw.
Yes, he did.
Okay, this was supposed to be a tight meet, and wow, how'd you turn it into a rout?
I mean, we just came in here and we were who we are. And I challenged them all weekend to trust us, to have courage, to be strong, and that's what they did. You know, we didn't really come in here looking at the scoreboard very much about what everybody else had, but we were sure what we could do. I thought we could get over 100 points, and we did.
You tell them to enjoy the party. What's that mean?
I mean, engage in the party. I mean, they're all youngsters. They're all college kids. They like to party, and you know, there's a party going on this weekend. Anybody that comes to this championships understands that it's phenomenal. You know, we'll go back later and look at results and be like, wow, that happened. I mean, like, we just watched the women's team run 3:32 in the 4x4 and get like 6th or 7th place, and that only happens in the SEC. So I just always challenge them to engage in the party, to be a part of what's going on, match the intensity of everybody else in the building.
I'd ask you about the NCAAs in 2 weeks, but I figure you need more than 7 minutes to enjoy this. So we'll just say congratulations. The Gators were in white, and they got it right.
That's right, we sure did.
Mike Holloway, congratulations to you and your squad of Gators.
Thank you very much.
So the 2019 SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships are history, and Florida is your champ with 103 points, edging Arkansas, who had a really fine meet but just didn't quite have the horses to keep up with the Gators at 88 points. They've now hosted here 9 times. 7 times the Razorbacks have won, and the other 2 times it is Florida and Mike Holloway's Gators who have won the championship. And on the women's side, we expected Arkansas to be dominant, and they were, winning for the 5th straight year and their 9th title overall. The host Hogs for Lance Harder just too good for the rest of the SEC this weekend. A reminder, our next live webcast of college track and field will be the NCAA Indoor Championships. That's live from the Crossplex in Birmingham, Alabama on ESPN3.com. It comes your way March 8th and 9th in 2019. Of course, it's this year's championships. We'll have live webcasts. Check your listings on ESPN3.com. With that, we say goodbye from the Randall Tyson Track Center and the 2019 SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships. Mondo set a collegiate record. He was fun to watch. Grant Holloway, as always, and all the runners from Arkansas did a great job. For Dwight Stones and Jill Montgomery, this is John Anderson saying so long from Fayetteville, Arkansas. The Gators and the Razorbacks are champions.
All right, John, here are the men's team standings after 10 events concluded, and you can see that Florida and Georgia are only 7 points separating, and then LSU just 1 point back. It's still anybody's game through the top 6 as we get ready for 2 sections of the men's 4x100 meter relay final. The Houston Cougars setting that collegiate record last year at the national championships. LSU with the best time in the country and the best in the SEC. 2-section final. This is the first section for the 3 teams that have slower times coming in, but make no mistake, scoring can happen from either race. The Gamecocks will be in 5, and this is how they will hand off second, third, and then the anchor leg for South Carolina.
A very young contingent for South Carolina. You have 3 freshmen and a sophomore. Also looking at Ole Miss right there, looking to be a factor and get some momentum rolling early on. There you have, as you look at how they are lining up out there, Raspo, Dreyer, Webb, and Broadnax there, different legs of this relay.
Neither of these teams has a senior on it, so we will likely see these teams in Section 2 next year. Missouri, South Carolina, and Ole Miss from the inside to the out, and South Carolina out to an early lead. Shaky pass there, but they made it in plenty of time.
Some work to do, certainly.